Mother is heaven for. Mother, what should we do then? Bai Xiaoqin's eyes got all red as the worry nearly made him cry out. Don't assume he doesn't care just because he claimed to be adopted. In fact, he cares about his old man quite a lot. Don't worry too much, he's Ditsong, your father. There's nothing he can't do in this world. Bai Yan reassures her boy by showing a comforting smile, but the reluctance and worry couldn't be dismissed in her voice. She doesn't know where the Demon King was now. That meant she must find out. Xiaoqin, go find your siblings and pack up. We'll go visit the human world as planned. Bai Yan attempts to shift the topic, in order to avoid further pain in the room. Okay. The steam bun did not doubt his mother, and nodded before turning for the exit. Xiaoqin, don't let Ling Yan and Jin Tian know about this, understand? Bai Yan drops another order after seeing her boy move, afraid this matter might rile up into a fuss that's not needed at this timing. Halting in his step and turning back to face her. Mother, you can count on me. I won't let them worry. Finally, once said, the boy ran off without looking back, leaving only the Demon Queen standing there with an oppressive air hovering overhead. At this moment, Suzaku was just coming out of her own room when the phoenix suddenly bumped into her mistress, who came to see her. Stumbling backward in surprise by the headbutt. Mistress, how come you are here? Tightly pressing her hands onto the phoenix's shoulder so she doesn't escape. Suzaku, do you know where Ditsong went? I want to hear the truth. Flinching at the sudden question, the phoenix woman met the Demon Queen's eye and spent a good second in deep thought. In the end, she shook her head. I don't know. His Majesty didn't tell us anything, so we don't know where he intends to go. Bai Yan's hand slowly loosened. It looks like Xiaoqin is not wrong. Suzaku and them don't know anything. Ditsong had Xiaoqin pass me the word, saying I cannot go to the place that he's going. Why is that the case? Bai Yan's sight never left the other person's, looking for any sign of hesitancy. Sure enough, Suzaku got quiet, and leaving the air very tense. After a good while of this awkwardness, I really don't know. Taking a step back, Bai Yan's figure began to shake, her smile transforming into a hysterical laugh of bitterness. Is that so? Fine, I'm going to take the kids back with me to the human world. Since I don't know where he is, I won't waste any more time on the matter. But if word comes that he's in danger, you must come find me, understood? Mistress. Suzaku didn't like this, either, so her heart was very tense, like someone's grabbing at it and ripping it apart. There's only one place that is forbidden to Mistress, since she is a human. The place only us demons can go. I want to tell her, but her going would only bring more harm to the king than helping. Mother is heaven 5. I can't watch her take such a risk. So I'm sorry, Mistress. Please forgive me for not telling you. Bai Yan did not notice the hidden light flickering within the phoenix's eyes, so her condition wasn't faring so well. Sloppy in her steps, the Demon Queen had trouble maintaining her balance due to the ache in the heart. Mother, mother. From afar, she could hear the calls of the little ones. Coming over was none other than her eldest son and the twins. However, there's also Ji-song, who stood behind the group while holding a long sword in both her arms. She may be small, smaller than Bai Xiaoqin, but her presence gave weight and projected a sense of peace. You're all here. Bai Yan slowly closed her eyes before opening them again after a long while. She had to force herself to smile despite the discomfort. Mother, are you feeling sick? Ling Yan saw the unhealthy complexion and quickly ran over to touch Bai Yan's forehead with her tiny hands. However, she's unfortunately too small in her height, so those hands were nowhere close to being able to reach, which causes the pipsqueak to grow a little depressed in the face. I'm fine, Ling Yan, don't have to worry. Bai Yan reached down to rub her daughter's head reassuringly. Of course, the little glutton was equally as worried after seeing his mother's complexion. First pulling out a small cloth bag from his pocket, he earnestly offers it with both hands like it's an immense treasure. Mother, are you hungry? This is the food prepared for me by First Elder. I had intended to eat it on the road, but if Mother is hungry, then you can have it. Bai Yan's heart melted away over her twins' lovable gesture of comfort, hugging both with open arms. Mother is not hungry. I'm just a little tired. We should begin heading out now. Mother, Don't we have to say goodbye to father first? Ling Yan asks with a puzzled look. She's suddenly reluctant to leave Song behind. It's just that the thought of meeting her mother's side of the family, her heart would grow excited. Shuddering inside over that comment, she shakes her head with a bitter smile. No need. Your father is very busy, so it's best not to disturb him. It's beginning to get late, so we shouldn't delay the trip any longer. If we set out now, then we should be at the Holy Land before sundown. In this world, apart from those she considers close family members, the most important individuals are the three silly shifus of hers. Back then it was they who took her in during her weakest, and gave her 5 years of love and care. Without that period to breath, the Bai Yin of today wouldn't exist. Mother, are we going to see my 3 grandchefs? Bai Xiaoqin's eye lit up over the notion. Is Godfather also in the Holy Land? I miss him so much. Although he favors his old man a lot, the steam bun still likes Chewy Feng from the hearts down. In fact, if Song never existed, he would have likely wanted that picturesque man to become his stepfather. Godfather. Ling Yan cleverly picked up on this word, and looked towards her older brother's face for an explanation, patting his little sister with a smile. You never met him yet, Ling Yan, but Godfather is a very good person that is always kind to Mother and me. He would exhaust everything to please her. If father hadn't appeared back then, perhaps. Regarding the last bit of his remark, Bai Xiaoqin didn't want to say it before the twins. After all, if Chewy Feng did get Bai Yan back then, where would the twins be today? Mother is heaven 6. Does Godfather look good? And between father and Godfather, who looks better? This time, Bai Xiaoqin puckered his lips to one side and didn't want to elaborate. They both look good in their respective manner. Godfather is a fairy like those seen in a portrait, while father is stunning and dominant, but I prefer father now. He likes whoever gives his mother a lifetime of happiness. Even if Song often bullies him, he would like his old man as usual. What about before? Did brother prefer Godfather? As always, Ling Yan became the curious baby that she was, and wanted to get to the bottom of things. Well, Bai Xiaoqin did not deny that idea and nodded. At first father would always pick on mother, so I did not like him. Mother is my most important woman. Whoever bullies her is my enemy, if not for father performing well later on. Plus he promised that he will help me improve my strength, so that I can protect mother. I wouldn't have accepted him so quickly. If there's anything to be blamed, it could only be on Song's initial impression. He didn't act like a good man, so the boy reacted defensively. In contrast, Chewy Feng's behavior had been nothing but flawless. A literal ray of sunshine in Xiaoqin and Bai Yan's life. It's no wonder the steam bun preferred him at first. Ling Yan, I am not as strict with you versus Jin Tian, but listen up the both of you. Bai Xiaoqin forks his arms around the waist while speaking in a lecturing manner. Mother is the boss of our family. Whoever bullies her is the enemy of our family. Regardless if mother is right or wrong, she is and always will be right, understood? Jin Tian the little glutton nodded first without fully understanding his meaning. He's already been programmed to believe anything the steam bun says, so this was a no-brainer. But Ling Yan on the other hand got the underlying meaning when she nodded. I understand, big brother. Mother is always right. If there is anyone wrong, it can only be the other person. If mother and father argues, it can only be father's fault. That's right. Bai Xiaoqin dotingly ruffles his little sister's hair in an appeased manner. And you, Jin Tian, when you grow older, you must be as good as you are now and never anger mother. If you do, I will beat you, I really will hit you. Shivering in fear at the sudden threat, the little glutton didn't know why he suddenly became the ire of his older brother. I will be good. I really will be. He's ready to burst into tears by this point. It's bad enough to be the punching bag. It's even worse when you don't know why you're the punching bag. Now that's good. The steam bun loosens his stern face and got all lovely in his smile. It doesn't matter if you don't understand what I mean. The only thing you need to know is that mother is the heaven, she is the law. Song, who's also present but standing behind the twins, was shocked by this logic and display of tyranny. From a logical point of view, it's supposed to be wrong, but it's nevertheless drawing her in, and making this now healed girl worshipful towards the steam bun. Mrs. D is so amazing. She could teach her eldest son to be such a sweet son. That should be enough, Xiachen. Bai Yin warmly rewards her eldest with a pat on the head after that statement. If you continue, then Jean Tian is really going to cry. As if I am that mean, mother? Bai Xiachen slyly throws himself at the demon queen's waist. I am in fact very gentle. As long as my little brother doesn't make you angry, I will always be the kind and gentle older brother to him. I'm only teaching him how to behave in this family properly. Reunion 1. Suzaku. Bai Yin pinches her eldest's nose before turning to the Phoenix woman. I will be leaving the four of you in charge of the demon realm while we're away. If anything happens, contact me immediately, understand? She and Suzaku have a contract in their bodies, so passing on the message would be as simple as a will of their mind. Don't worry, mistress. I will be here in the demon realm until your return. Nodding in confirmation, the Phoenix gives off an air of confidence and reliability. Holding the twins with both hands, Bai Yin led the way in front. We're leaving. I'll take you two to meet your grandchiefess. It's another year of plentiful blossoming for the peach trees on the island, where Bai Yin once called her home of the Holy Land. It's beautiful and serene here, but not all was as it may seem from the surface. Standing on the edge of the lake surrounding the island, several disciples of this great power curiously voiced their opinion as they took in this sight. I didn't expect such beautiful scenery to be in the Holy Land, but why is such a good place not being used by the little princess? Chui, can it be this is where the Lord's deceased wife once lived? Another disciple to one side immediately sent a look at this ignorant peer of hers as she shot the theory down. You are new, so it's normal that you don't know. However, there are some things you must not spout without the pertinent details. Senior Sister Zhang Yin, does that mean you know about the Holy Island's secret? The girl in pink turned her head to look at the older female disciple known as Zhang Yin, her bright green eyes curious and nosy. That is, of course. It is said that the master of this island is the strongest person of the human world, and she's also the apprentice of the three great elders. Even the Holy Lord and Princess are extremely fond of her, making her position within the Holy Land equivalent to the Holy Lord himself. Zhang Yun crosses her arms around the chest and gloats her chin high like some superior lecturing their subordinates. Such a person is one that we should all aspire to be. Sadly, I'm afraid even meeting that person would be impossible. The pink girl popped her mouth into a round shape at this incredible story. But I have been in the Holy Land for nearly 2 years. Why have I never seen her? Is she not coming back to the Holy Land? Who knows? Zhang Yin shook her head. I heard that she married and followed her husband to some far-off place. The three great elders believe she would return soon, though. That's why we're all cleaning the Holy Land of late. But isn't the Holy Island's owner the strongest person in the human world already? What man can win her heart? The pink girl sways her hip left and right like an innocent maiden that's captivated by this wondrous story. If I were her, I would rather be on my own since I already have such strength. It wouldn't sit well with me to be overshadowed by a man when I can clearly be at the forefront. Don't mess around. That kind of thinking is best kept to yourself. Zhang Yun hurriedly pulled her peer over and cusped her running mouth so other unrelated disciples wouldn't hear. Before I was only a disciple at the outer ring. That's why I never got to meet that incredible woman. But her deeds and achievements, just listening to some of the stories from the older seniors, would get my heart burning with excitement. And guess what? I heard she already has a son before coming to the Holy Land. Reunion 2. The pink girl grew more surprised, her eyes full of amazement due to the overflowing flood of curiosity. What kind of child would an incredible woman like that produce? Excuse me. That's when a voice suddenly cuts their conversation short from mid-air. Is Chu Yi at the Holy Land? After hearing this sentence, the disciples present all stopped in their word and promptly looked up into the sky, where they completely lost their breath at that mesmerizing figure. Beautiful. So beautiful. They have never seen such a beautiful woman, so that's the only thing going through their minds. Normally such an outstanding contour would incur the ire of the same sex, especially among the female side. In this case, They could do nothing but stare in awe at that divine creation. She's currently training in the back mountain. Zhang Yin came back to her senses first due to her experience, and answered Bai Yan's question. That's great, said the demon queen with a smile. I'll wait for her on the holy island. Xiachen Ling Yan Jin Tian, let's go. As soon as she stated this, the woman carried her kids and descended to the island at the center of the lake, leaving only the shocked disciples in the background, who couldn't come back to reality for the longest time. She went to the holy island, did she not? I didn't hallucinate, did I? And did you hear? She addressed the princess by name. Who on the holy land would dare call her by that? Under the peach blossom tree of the holy island, there's a medicine field planted by none other than Bai Yin herself, who stayed here for a few years. I haven't seen to this crop for so long. Perhaps it's withered by now? Bai Yin forms a helpless smile, due to the hard work she's placed into this field. It's just that instead of the dying plants near her cottage after she arrived, what welcomed her was the powerful fragrance of herbs and exotic plants in the wind. Old 3, I told you your method is wrong. You see, the patch I cultivated is successfully germinating now, while yours is withering away. Tell me, how are you going to explain this to Yenner after she comes back? Old 2, you're being too much. If it weren't for you spraying the elixirs over to my patch during your watering, would my plants die? Ho, I don't care. No matter what, this part of the field is under your charge. Failing to notice this before it's too late is your fault. I am not responsible. Just wait until Yenna returns. I'm going to tell her about this. Second elder Run, he proudly raised his chin, while tossing sand over his fellow brother. Qiu Shurong's face got beet red at this. He's so frustrated yet so helpless due to always being the scapegoat. Why am I always the one who gets the short end of the stick? That's enough, stop arguing and let's think of a way to save these herbs. These plants are our apprentices, baby, we cannot. Zhengqi the first Shifu rubs his temple as the headache slowly comes forward. Reunion 3. Yin Yu. You're back? The afternoon sun was exceptionally bright, falling on top of the woman's beautiful face, and showcasing her emotional smile at the 3 seniors. Ren 2 and Qiu Shurong 3rd stopped their quarreling then and doubly looked up at the woman whom they've been talking about. Precious disciple. Qiu Shurong hung his head in shame. Since you left the Holy Land, we have been studying hard with the texts you left behind. But I'm such a bumbling idiot, I can't even raise this one good patch of. Ren Yi's heart also didn't fare so well and smiled bitterly. It's in fact not old 3's fault. I accidentally poured some of my elixirs onto his side, and caused the herbs to die. Before Bai Yan arrived in this world, most people could only forage for such rare ingredients due to the harsh growth requirements of these spirit herbs, like high spiritual concentration in the air and earth, or specific temperature and moisture. However, Bai Yan had devised a way to bypass most of these conditions, and that was the elixir she concocted and written down for these 3. First looking over to the farm field, then back at her 3 shifus, Bai Yan suddenly found her eyes a little wet. Have the 3 of you been keeping these herbs alive all these years? Well, yes. Since you're not around, plus we're bored. That's why we would often come over to the island and look after these herbs. We were afraid others wouldn't know what to do, so it's always us who does the watering. Zhengqi the first elder explains. They are Yin Yan's precious treasures. Of course we need to look after them for her. Bai Yan didn't know what else to say. Don't assume these 3 are unreliable because they often screw up during their lessons with her. In fact, they're well above the norms in this world. Furthermore, the love and care shown was no less than a parent raising a child. That's the sort of relationship these 3 have with Bai Yan. Grandshifu, Bai Xiachen quickly ran over and threw himself into Zhengqi's arm, his handsome face grinning brilliantly. Grandshifus, I miss all of you so much. The steam bun grew up in this holy island, so it's expected that the place and people held a special place in his heart. I miss you too, Xiachen. You must come back more often in the future. Guess what, Grandshifu Zhengqi? Mother gave me a little sister. Oh right. There's also an extra younger brother that accidentally got thrown in. Accidentally? Dare say, in Bai Xiachen's heart, The little glutton's existence was no better than an extra. All three of the elders promptly looked over to their disciples' location and saw the indicated twins. One was a precious crystal of a girl that had the gifts of her mother, while the baby boy retained the baby fat and cuddliness worthy of being snuggled. It also helped that Jin Tian was chewing his thumb while curiously eyeing the three, so it only made him all the more adorable. Ling Yan, Jin Tian, come greet your grandshiftess. Bai Xiachen waves at his siblings to step forward. Hello grandshifu. Ling Yan, being the more outspoken of the two, spoke first, her eyes clever and bright. Hello grandshifu. Jin Tian followed suit, but was timider in his voice due to the unfamiliar grounds. Moving his hands wildly like he didn't know where to put them, Zheng Qi found his nerves overwhelmed at the kid's behavior. Good, excellent. Such good children you have there, Yin Yan. Oh, what to do? You came back so suddenly that I didn't prepare a good gift for them. Reunion 4. Grandshifu, Mother brought me here to meet you all, so I'm thrilled as it is. There's no need to be so ceremonious. Forcing a crescent shape with her eyes, Di Ling Yan was all smiles while saying this. Zheng Qi became stunned by how much the child resembled the steam bun, especially how she smiled. Yin Yan, this child's personality is so much like Xiachen when he was little. I knew your children would all be this astounding, ha ha ha. Laughing and laughing, his eyes soon became wet as the tears flowed out from the corner. My disciple is too outstanding that even us, her Shifus, can no longer keep up. Shifu, you don't need to be so emotional. Am I not here with you three? Oh right, I've already told someone to go find Yi to let her know of my return. Is the Lord around in the Holy Land as well? Bai Yan wanted to lighten the mood, so she quickly changed the topic. Him? Yeah, the Lord never left the Holy Land, so he must be at the main estate. I know he will be very excited to see you come back. How long are you staying this time? Replying was Zheng Qi, the first elder. He's anxiously awaiting the answer based on the way he's rubbing his hands in a squirming manner. Bai Yan naturally knew that they wanted her to stay a little longer. Unfortunately, other things are awaiting her attention, and they all knew that. Apologetically shaking her head. First Shifu, second Shifu, third Shifu. I'm sorry, but I can only stay for a brief while. After saying hello to everyone here, I will have to go visit grandfather and the rest of the family, so. This came as no surprise to the three Holy Lands elders. There are a lot of matters on hand for this precious disciple of theirs. The fact that she found time to come see them was enough to soothe their hearts, albeit at a slight trade-off of disappointment. I see, Yin Yan. No matter, the Holy Land will always be your home. And we will always be your family too. When you feel like returning here, then you are always welcomed back. In the meantime, us three will watch over this island and the plants in your stead. A teacher always wishes for higher goals for their students. There's a much bigger world awaiting this proud woman. That's why they don't want to be an anchor holding her back. Shifus. Bai Yan's heart fluttered with butterflies at their support. No matter what happens, these three silly Shifus of hers would always keep a particular spot inside her heart. I promise you, when I resolve everything and settle down, I will definitely come back and spend a good amount of time here, okay? Qiu Shu Rong third bellows out a laugh at this promise. Sweetie, you don't need to worry about us. Go ahead and do what you need to do. This place is not going anywhere. And plus we are not so stingy to want to occupy you for ourselves. We only want you to be happy. That's right, Yin Yan. Second Shifu here don't know what to say here aside from telling you the Holy Island will always be here for you. If there is any danger in the future, you can always look to us for help. We will always have your back. Ren Yi's look appeared heavy and severe. I understand. Bai Yan slowly extended her arms out and hugged her second Shifu's old body before turning to embrace the other two as well. To me, you three are not only my Shifus but also my fathers. As the saying goes, a Shifu is a Shifu for life. Though your ages are a bit on the older side, but for me, your existence is equivalent to being my parents. There will always be a spot by my side for the three of you no matter how high I reach. Reunion 5. Such friendship. It's not something that could be paid back with mere material wealth. Only a lifetime of gratitude could be used as compensation for those feelings and kindness. Bai Yan. A voice of joy came from behind and caused the demon queen to turn around. Immediately, a woman wearing a yellow dress of flowers had come into view. She's young and full of lively energy, which brought the mood to a whole new level of joy. Bai Yan, I miss you so much. Chu Yi pitifully states this. Her arms wrapped firmly around the other side's figure like she couldn't believe this reality. I miss you too, Yi. But before we continue, I'd like to know why you are back in the Holy Land. Where's my brother Bai Xiao? Weren't you two together? Taken aback by the sudden question, Chu Yi, the mischievous princess of the Holy Land, didn't give a straightforward answer like she usually would. Instead, she looks up to meet her friend's gaze before pursing those lips into a sad line. He's still in the celestial realm. I miss my old man, so I came back first to see him. Though she says that, it's obvious she's reluctant to go over the full details of the story. Able to discern this much based on her assessment, Bai Yan knew this problem must be solved between themselves. Love could not be forced, that's something she learned long ago. I know my brother's temperament is hard to grasp due to how neutral he is. It's difficult for him to express himself sometimes. If there is a misunderstanding between the two of you, or if he's bullying you, I will help you teach him a lesson. Is that good? Bai Xiao was her brother, but Chu Yi was also her sister and dear friend. So of course she would help give a push to their relationship. Bai Yan. Chu Yi's heart shook at this support. It's not Xiao Zhao's issue, it's my own. I feel like my strength is too weak and cannot help him. That said, the princess promptly looks back up with a firm light of determination in those eyes. In the past she had always been pampered due to her status as the princess of the Holy Land, one of the three great powers in the human world. But after experiencing the indignation and difficulties of the celestial realm, it's come to the last that it's not alright to continue like this. She has pride too. Being a damsel in distress has never been her way. Bai Yan pats her friend's shoulder. When it comes to a relationship, status isn't important, so you need to stop worrying about such things. My brother is dull like that. Haven't you realized that by now? Chu Yi's eyes got all red and emotional, her throat choking for a proper response. I only want to ask you this. If Bai Xiao is only the son of a powerless Bai house in the Lu Hui kingdom, would you still favor him? The demon queen stares into her friend's eye with a solemn expression. Of course I will. I didn't like him because of his identity. Even if he's weak and powerless, I will not abandon him. When she fell in love with Bai Xiao, it was back when he had nothing and standing before the burning pyre of the Bai house. She ached for him, at the same time loved him for being determined despite all the hurdles in life. Reunion 6. In that case, why do you believe my brother will turn you away? Bai Yan couldn't help but chuckle at her own words. The you in the past is known as the scourge of the Holy Land, lawless and destructive in the path you walk. When have you been afraid of anything? Did you not listen to any of the advice I gave you before we separated back then? Grabbing the princess's shoulder, the demon queen's voice now grew stern and severe. Chu Yi, gather your courage and get what you want. I'm waiting for my sister-in-law. In addition, whether you can catch up to my brother and enter his heart is up to you. I can only help you summon your courage. After all, he too is my brother. I can't use my status as his older sister to force him to accept you. Bai Yan looks deep into the princess's eye to get her point across. Slowly nodding her head, Chu Yi sounded more like herself again. I know relationships cannot be forced. If he doesn't want me, then I won't be one of those stubborn females that won't let go. At the very least, I will wait until he finds someone else who he truly loves. Hearing that last bit, Bai Yan couldn't help but smile in a bittersweet manner. Chu Yi and her older brother Chu Yifeng are so similar. When Di Song came into my life, that man also did the same, and watched me in secret to keep me safe. He would sacrifice his own happiness to let me find happiness. Such a man, such a sister. How can they be so willing to sacrifice for others? This. Zheng Qi and his fellow brothers were stunned into disbelief. Our princess, the evil witch of the Holy Land, fell in love with a man. This level of shock couldn't be blamed on the three elders. Ever since Bai Yin came to this place, Chu Yi had been circling around the demon queen and her son like a butterfly that never leaves. They've almost forgotten the princess was also a maiden that could love another person. Bai Yin immediately shot a deadpan look at her three shifus as a warning. I know what the three of you are thinking. What we spoke of just now never happened. You heard nothing, nor shall this be spoken before the Lord. This is Chu Yi's secret. It's not anyone's business to tell others until she's ready. A humph. Zheng Qi first coughed awkwardly since he got it right away. Turning to his two brothers. Did the two of you hear anything? I didn't hear nothing, not a single thing. No, of course not, we heard nothing at all. Old two, did you hear anything? Qiu Shurong third shot his second brother a wink. Oh what, my ears are getting old. I should really go to a doctor and have it checked. Our bodies aren't getting any younger, you know. Rennie acts clueless like he's not able to understand anything. I want to go meet your father now. Do you want to come with me? Bai Yin asks with a pleased smile, after seeing the way her shifus acted. Shaking that head, the princess had other plans in mind apparently. No. I need to continue to work towards my goal now that I've figured out what I want. If my father finds out I'm heading out to the celestial realm, then he will definitely break my leg. I need to split before he finds out. Merely at the thought of the harshness the Holy Lord enacted on herself as of late, Chu Yi would shudder in fear. Bai Yin, the princess suddenly got an idea. Can you tell my father in a bit not to send someone to chase me? My speed is slow, so he will definitely send his people afterward. Reunion 7. Why do you need me to help you? Bai Yin makes a perplexed face. Couldn't you go tell the Lord yourself? I'm not going, said Chu Yi in an indignant fashion. Father almost beat me because of the last incident where I ran away from home with Lan Xiaoyan. He's worried about you being in danger, don't you understand? I understand that, but I also want to train myself. This time he will definitely not let me go to the celestial realm if he finds out. Chu Yi clung onto Bai Yan's arm and swung it left and right in a pleading fashion. Bai Yan, help me this time, just this time. Father will listen to you if you help my case. Looking at her friend's pitiful appearance, Bai Yan didn't have the heart to reject the request and nodded. All right, I will let him know. Also, I want you to go find Little Rice in the demon realm first. He will have someone escort you to the celestial realm. The demon realm was her territory, much safer than the celestial realm, so having her own people safeguard Chu Yi during the route was a better plan in her opinion. Bai Yan, you and Xiao Xiao both managed to make it into the celestial realm on your own. I can do it too. If I continue to depend on others to do everything for me, then I will never grow and have the strength to stand by his side. There's a determined glow that showed how much she wanted this. So, I will go alone this time. Believe in me, I can protect myself. She doesn't have the gift as Bai Yin does, nor the ability and fortitude of others, but she does have an unwavering heart. Without this experience to prove herself, Chu Yi wouldn't have the face to continue down this path, where it would only get much more challenging with time. Okay. Bai Yin knew she couldn't change her friend's mind, and nodded after a brief thought. But promise me you will go find my brother as soon as you head into the celestial realm. Don't worry, I will definitely find him. Perhaps the thought of reuniting with that handsome young man. Chu Yi's cheek would immediately flush a red of fluttery shade. Sister Yi. Bai Xiachen pouts at the Holy Land princess after being ignored for so long. You used to like me the most, but now all you talk about is my uncle. Did you even see me? Making a surprised face, Chu Yi actually responded with the cruelest sentence. Oh Xiachen, you're back? A shattering sound filled the steambun's soul like a scum just dumped him for someone else. I didn't even exist in her eyes until I called her out. Ling Yan and Jin Tian too, all of you are here? Chu Yi gasps after seeing the three kids standing around and staring at herself. Ling Yan with her stunned face. I also got ignored. Am I not cute enough? When did I become like second brother, and can be ignored? Unlike his twin sister and older brother though, Jin Tian the little glutton didn't mind this, and behaved cluelessly. With a pastry snack in hand, he happily waves hello to the girl. Hello Auntie Yi. Rubbing her temple at the silly nature of this scene. Bai Yin figured there's no point dwelling on the carelessness of her friend. It's getting late Yi. I better go see your father before leaving. I still need to visit the medicine sect afterward. You can use this opening to pack up before leaving. Bai Yin, you are so nice to me. Giving her friend a big hug. Chui suddenly kissed the demon queen on the cheek as gratitude. She had intended to flee without packing anything since time was of the essence. But having extra clothes and money definitely helps. Bai Yin appears stunned by the physical contact. Bai Xiachen also popped his eyes out in shock. Ling Yin on the other hand merely giggled in delight after seeing this. And like usual, Jean Tian the little glutton only had food in mind, and continued to eat his pastry. Sister Yi, you're done for. After half a ring later, Bai Xiachen dropped this remark down with a black face. If my father finds out you sexually harassed my mother, he will not let you go for this. A humph. Chui coughs awkwardly since she knew her action there went overboard. Raising to rub the steambun's head. What does a little baby know? I'm not disrespecting your mother. I'm only expressing my happiness. And also don't tell your father about this, okay? Reunion 8. At the end of the day, her voice sounded weak as those eyes nervously scanned the area for said demon king. Chui Yi was honestly afraid of Di Tsang bursting out of hiding and breaking her neck when she's least expected it. It's scary to even think about it in fact. Chui Yi, Bai Yan's black face spoke with gritted teeth. You smothered me with your saliva. If there's a next time then you better keep 3 feet away from me at all times. Shrinking her neck in at the outraged demon queen, Chui knew her friend had a phobia against dirty things. I'll go pack up right away. You go see my father now bye. Dropping that down, the Holy Land princess disappeared in a blur. It's a new record for this naughty, which when it comes to fleeing. Humph, we're going too then. Holding her twins with each hand, Bai Yin began to move when she suddenly stopped and shot a glance back at the 3 old gramps watching her from behind. Shifus, when I've solved everything, I'll be back. As reluctant as they are about separating again so soon, the 3 elders didn't try to keep her behind. Okay. That's all they could utter out, stuffing those emotional words inside for another day. By the lake, the disciples were still silently waiting for Bai Yan's possible appearance. They are very excited at the opportunity of meeting the owner of the Holy Island. Sure, they aren't certain of Bai Yan's identity and didn't know her name, but the reaction from Chui Yi told them all they needed to know. Earlier, all they managed to get out was that a woman had headed to the island with a bunch of kids. And then the princess bolted away in glee without asking for any details. It's well known only one person could get Chui Yi so riled up in this place. Finally, their patience were rewarded by a red female gradually appearing in their sight. This. The girl in the pink hurried forward and nervously spoke first. There's an unbridled level of worship in her eyes. Excuse me, are you the rumored world's strongest and the owner of the Holy Island? Bai Yan's footsteps stopped. Turning around, she faintly smiled at the inexperienced youngsters. No one can claim to be the strongest. As for the owner of the Holy Island, you could say that. Several of the disciples giggled with glee as they got the confirmation. She admitted it. She is that legendary person. Son. Senior that. The pink girl looked shy and timid. You are my goal. In the future, I will train hard. I hope I can one day be qualified to follow you from behind. First giving this brave child a glance, Bai Yin suddenly smiled like she's looking into her own past. What's your name? Autumn. My name is Autumn with the surname Forget. Forget Autumn? Alright Autumn. When you grow strong enough, you can come to me. Bai Yin liked the name and didn't reject the idea. That done, the demon queen went ahead to continue on her way. Even though her steps aren't big or wide, but her figure had disappeared entirely from the disciples' line of sight in mere moments. Senior sister Zhang Yin, just now she say yes? The pink girl was so excited that she couldn't hold it down and began jumping. But I didn't expect to have this chance to speak with the strongest person in the world. Zhang Yin chuckled at her junior's cheerful voice like she just got a present. Actually, you should have asked her for some pointers instead. Perhaps your abilities would have grown by leaps and bounds as a result. Didn't you mention you were trying your hands in alchemy? She is also famous for her Dan pills, you know. Reunion 9. The pink girl shook her head firmly. She must be swamped with other stuff. I can't ask her these small questions to bother her. What's more, I'm going to follow her with my own ability. If I let her give me pointers, then I won't have the face to follow her anymore. Zhang Yin became stunned. She didn't understand what the girl was thinking to miss out on this great opportunity. Inside the luxurious palace of the Holy Land, Chu Ran was currently focusing his attention on the book in his hand. But he wasn't alone in this study though. Standing further in front was a beautiful maid awaiting his command. However, those eyes were not well behaved, and would constantly sneak a peek towards the Holy Lord whenever possible. She obviously wants to seduce the man sitting on the master chair. Unfortunately for this woman though, Chu Ran never once gave her the attention she wanted. Suddenly, the main door to the study was pushed open without forewarning. The maid looked over right away as was her duty. Immediately her eyes fell upon the woman in red, dazzling her line of sight along with those kids. Impudent! She snaps at the intruders with a solemn face. Who allowed you to come in here without notice? If it were under normal circumstances, this power-hungry maid would have spent a moment to think things through as to why Bai Yin would be able to come inside unhindered. But that face sent her alarms into full alert, and was a threat to her plan to become the mistress of the Holy Land. She is surrounded children. Does she think the Holy Lord will want to pick up after other people's slack, just because she's beautiful? Back over in the main doorway, Bai Yin raised an eyebrow at this maid who yelled at her. Normally she wouldn't need a notice since this was the study and work office. But this maid was someone she's never seen before. Chu Ran was attracted by the noise created by the maid's rebuke. Looking over to the doorway, the man's instantly lit up. Yin or Xiaochen, you're both back. And these two little fellas, they should be the twins mentioned by Yi, aren't they? The maid on one side appeared stiff after hearing this. How come the Lord isn't angry with her after she barged in without notice? Bai Yin slowly nodded in confirmation, ignoring the maid's glaring face, and signaling her children forward. I remember you only came not long ago, right? Chu Ran definitely sensed the air around the room, due to the maid, and turned to her, hanging her head low in a compliant manner. Yes, my lord. You don't need to come anymore. Chu Ran's tone was calm and clear, but his words were a shock to the maid in question. She looked up in dismay, unconvinced that she would be dismissed so readily. But my lord, did I do something wrong? I only spoke out because she barged in without notice. I feared she might try to assassinate you. Chu Ran laughed humorously. You think those in the Holy Land are all blind or something? Who can kill me while on my own turf? Reunion 10. Aye. The maid clenched her lips as those eyes flushed a pink red. Go down, you don't need to come back afterward. Chu Ran orders, his patience wearing thin. The maid was very reluctant to leave, but did not dare to say more. Giving a bow, she headed for the exit to only be stopped by what she heard next. Remember, you don't need to come to the Holy Land anymore. The maid's body froze as she turned her head stiffly over the clarification. Lord, why are you evicting me from the Holy Land? It took her so much to get into this great power. Even if it's only as a maid to serve tea and water. But her family was still proud of her. If she were to be evicted, what would happen to herself? How would her clan treat her? Only she knows that better than anyone. A person who can't tell the situation is not needed in my service. You can leave now. I don't want to see you again. The maid no longer said more and fled away. But not before giving a fleeting glance at Bai Yin. There's a strong level of hatred and resentment. Lord, I'm back. Bai Yin doesn't give this any attention, since this didn't occur to the Demon Queen as something important. To her, this was the maid's own inability to retain her post. Chu Ran formed a big genuine smile at the woman's return. He's showing regret, appreciation and pride. Proud for being able to take in such a talented person. Regret that he couldn't have such a genius as his daughter-in-law. It's a real shame. Such a good girl. And my son can't win her heart despite all those years of effort. How long are you going to be back this time? Also, I quit drinking. This girl most hated it when he drinks with his daughter. As a result, he would often have Chu Yi be the scapegoat. But this time, he's honestly abstained from alcohol. I'm just coming back to see you guys, then I'm leaving right after. Bai Yin explains by shaking her head. She doesn't have too much contact with Chu Ran. But Bai Yin does know he loves her very much like family. If at first he accepted her for the gift she held, what came afterward were genuine emotions. Otherwise, who could put up with Bai Xiaoqin's antics of causing trouble everywhere? He went with Chu Yi in the younger years. Is that so? Sighed the man. I'm just glad you thought of us. Do bring these little ones often if possible. Yi is getting wilder as she ages, and I can no longer control her. She doesn't like to accompany me, so I've been getting more bored lately. It would be nice to play with the kids if possible. Grandpa Chu Ran, you don't have to worry. I will definitely bring my brother and sister here to see you often. The steam bun spoke up with the sincerest voice, bellowing out a pleased laugh. I really envy your grandfathers. Of the 3 great powers, only I lack a 3rd generational heir. Yifeng, that boy loves you so much that I fear he won't ever marry in this life. As for Yi, she's so wild and crazy at times, who would dare touch her? If this continues, then I might need to make alternative plans. Oh right. Bai Yin recalls one of the reasons she's here to meet him. Yi wanted me to tell you that she's leaving the Holy Land for the Celestial Realm. She is afraid of you stopping her, so she asked me to tell you instead. Reunion 11. In that moment, smile on the man's face shattered into oblivion. His breathing rhythm began to pant like he's about to lose his mind. That crazy girl ran away again? How dare she keep running off to the Celestial Realm? I'm going to break her leg once I get my hands on her. Doesn't she know how dangerous it is over there? If I don't properly teach her a lesson, then she will end up dead before I know it. I advise you not do that and send someone after her. Bai Yin shrugged. Chu Ran goes beet red as he struggles to retain his composure. Yenner, you don't need to speak for her. She is getting out of hand at this rate. I must give her a good lecture, before she gets into real trouble. Oh, then go ahead. Bai Yin continued to smile, but her eyes were all playful. But don't blame me for not telling you about it. If you bring her back, then you might miss out on being a grandfather. Didn't you want a 3rd generational heir? Perhaps a grandson? Grandson? Charan choked, and he turned his head a little, his eyes falling on the white-faced body. What did you just say? Grandson? She got pregnant before she got married? That disgrace. Although I wanted a grandchild, but getting pregnant before marriage is still unforgivable. Not yet. The grin deepens in Bai Yan's face. Yi ran off to chase her husband-to-be. Whether or not she will be successful is still unknown. But if you bring her back, then I'm afraid that possibility will be a no. She didn't want to leak this matter today since it's not hers to say. But if it could make Chu Ran stop, then it's a compromise she's willing to take. Patting his own chest to soothe that erupting anger, the Holy Lord suddenly froze after catching on to her meaning. Wait, slow down and let me catch up. Did you say Yi went out to chase her husband-to-be? You mean that crazy girl is finally in love with a guy? I'm not dreaming, am I? My daughter can finally get married. If there wasn't an example set by Bai Yin to go upon, Chu Ran would certainly not want his daughter to get married. However, it's impossible to get Chu Yifeng to like another female. With his son a lost cause, who else was he going to turn to for a grandson or granddaughter? Right. Chu Ran shot his gaze up to face the demon queen. Can you tell me who the guy is at least? Who is so lucky to win Yi's heart? My brother Bai Xiao. Bai Xiao? The man made an astonished face. The man Yi likes is Bai Yan's own brother? The Holy Lord never met the boy, but he's heard enough about Bai Xiao's exploit to know he's a reliable guy. Besides, if Bai Yan was so exceptional, then there's no way her brother wouldn't be as well. Ha ha ha. Chu Ran bellows out a hearty laugh of content. That's wonderful news. I always lamented the fact that you did not become my daughter-in-law, but now we can still be family with your brother as my son-in-law. Ha ha ha. Bai Yan was equally as happy with this arrangement. Then are you still going to send someone after her? Of course not. She can go all she like. Chu Ran states this with a wide grin of his own. Yi is old enough, so it's up to herself to make such choices. I can't keep watching over her head, otherwise she will never get married. What if my involvement botches their relationship? That actually made Bai Yan's face turn black with lines running across it. Why do I get the feeling Chu Ran will marry Yi off at any cost? Mother, I finally know why Sister Yi always says she's adopted. Bai Xiachen tugs at his mother's sleeve. If it were father, he'd definitely be reluctant to marry Ling Yan off. Whoever dares to abduct my sister, me and father will break their legs. Reunion 12. A humph. Chu Ran made an awkward cough, his eyes immediately falling upon the tiny body of the pipsqueak. You can't say it like that. If my daughter and Bai Xiao does become a pair, they are going to eventually have a son. By then, we might even be able to get closer through their marriage. Bai Yan's face suddenly blackened. She didn't want to keep her precious daughter around forever. But she wouldn't want to let anyone have ideas about her either. No. Bai Xiachen jumps in with forked arms around his waist, using his body as a shield for his sister. Sister Yi is marrying my uncle. If they have a kid then, that makes him my cousin. A cousin cannot marry another cousin. That's interbreeding. Chu Ran became taken aback by the boy's firm stance on the subject, and turned to the Demon Queen for detail. There is such a thing? How come I never heard of it? Is it real? Under Chu Ran's gaze, Bai Yan nodded slowly. Blood relatives within 3 generations cannot be married. The premise being related to only blood relatives though. Since it's you saying that then I won't doubt it. Chu Ran loosens his frown. But Xiachen seemed to forget his uncle is not from the same biological mother as yours Yenner. That makes it okay, doesn't it? If worse, I still have Yin Feng. When reaching this part, the Holy Lord suddenly paused and got quiet. Oh whatever, pretend I didn't say anything about that boy. Yifeng won't ever be able to get married. It's impossible in this life. I'm better off counting on Yi to give me a grandchild than to rely on that boy. Bai Xiachen makes a stupor face at this realization. Mother, would they be able to get married if cousins aren't blood related? Looking at his son's aggrieved and pitiful face, Bai Yan didn't know what else to do but nod. Lying about this subject wouldn't be good, so the hard truth was a must. Blood relatives are not allowed to marry, but anything else is fine. The steambun got all quiet like he's contemplating the idea. Then I don't care. If Sister Yi gives birth to a boy then he's my little brother. I will teach him to protect Ling Yan. If he misbehaves then I will break his leg. I will teach him from a young age that cousins can't get married. After so many years of being misguided in all the wrong ways, Bai Xiachen has finally learned what it means to be a teacher. Education must be taught from a young age. Only by teaching them his logic would it become the norm instead of the norm. Big brother. The pipsqueak chimes in with that innocent voice. Why do you always want to break people's legs? Ling Yan. Bai Xiachen presses his hands onto the girl's shoulder, his voice severe and stern. Those people are all bad inside. They want to abduct you and not let you come home. Don't you want to see me and mother? Tilting her head in a puzzled manner. But you and grandfather are saying different things. Grandfather Heavenly told me I mustn't listen to you and father. Who do I listen to? Grandfather Heavenly? Chu Ran got surprised and jumped up. Yenner, you saw Yin Feng? Bai Yan nodded in confirmation. I also found my father by accident, and he's with my mother now. Chu Ran relaxed after hearing this good news. Those two had it hard all these years. It's good to learn your parents are finally together. To think the big lady of the medicine sect and young master of the fairy house would have such a tough life. The medicine sects and misty fairy houses fight. 1. Bai Yan's eyes couldn't help but get emotional after the man said all those heartfelt words. A reunion of her parents. That's a goal she's been working hard towards since the very beginning. Lord, we came back to see. And now it's getting late, so it's about time we leave. There's still a lot of work waiting for me. Chu Ran didn't try to retain the woman, after seeing the determined expression, making a smile. Then I will not delay you further if you have something to attend to. But do go see your grandfathers, especially the one at the Misty Fairy House. No matter what, he's still your grandfather. I know, said Bai Yan with an understanding of what he meant. I've stated my stance long ago. As long as I can find my mother, then I will forgive him. Since she's with my father now, I won't hold the past against him anymore. I know he's been regretting a lot too over what he did. In fact, the stubborn old grandfather had regretted his decision the day Heavenly went mad, due to being separated from his wife by Ning. Unfortunately, remorse doesn't change the facts. Because of his decision and foolishness, Bai Yan's parents suffered for many years. Sure, the Demon Queen could forgive the grandfather that nearly ruined her family, but it doesn't change the fact that she's more inclined to favor her grandfather at the medicine sect. Mother! Di Ling Yan heard they're leaving already and tugged at the woman's sleeve. Are we going to see great-grandfather? It's my first time meeting them. Should I bring a gift? No, you're the best gift for them. Bai Yan smiled wholeheartedly and rubbed her daughter's head before giving the outside a strange look all of a sudden. Since the maid serving the Holy Lord was thrown out, her tears hadn't stopped flowing thus far. She's unwilling to accept this outcome and felt wronged. Suddenly, a figure in front caught her attention and caused the weeping female to stop. Uncle! Standing in front of him was a middle-aged man who had on a grim face. What's the matter? I worked so hard to arrange for you to be by the Lord's side. Did you do something to anger him? Otherwise, she wouldn't have left crying. The maid clenched her lips. Just now I saw that a woman had barged into the Lord's study room without announcement, so I scolded her. I honestly didn't expect the Lord to explode at me and drive me out of the Holy Land. Uncle, what should I do? If I go back home like this, then Father will literally kill me for this. She's the most beautiful daughter of the family, therefore everyone had placed their hope onto herself. If she fails and return without results, the aftermath and consequences would be dire. What did you say? The middle-aged man's face sank. Zheng Cloud, are you stupid or something? This isn't your Zheng clan's home. If that woman can enter the Lord's study without notice, then that proves she is special. How can you be so foolish to scold someone like that? The maid sobbed harder and began to hiccup. But even if that's the case, the Lord shouldn't have exploded like that. How can he drive me out of the Holy Land for something so innocent? The middle-aged man didn't respond to her words right away. Instead, he got all quiet and whispered his following question. Describe the woman's appearance to me. I want to find out her identity. This way I can tell if there's still a way to salvage the situation. The medicine sects and Misty Fairy houses fight too. The maid heavily bit her lips. She's reluctant to say but answered truthfully anyways. The woman is very beautiful. That's all. The middle-aged man frowned and continued to ask. She's beautiful, a striking kind of beauty, especially when she's dressed in red. The air she has is overwhelmingly memorable. She also had 3 kids with her. One was about 6 years old while the other 2 were about 2 years old. The maid did not see the expression made by her uncle as she explained, but he had literally turned green in horror. It's reported that the owner of the Holy Island loves to wear red all year round. What's more, she also has a child which should be around 6 as well by this year. On top of that, rumor has it the person has given birth to twins not too long ago. If going by all these clues, he could be almost certain this woman was the owner of the Holy Island. Zheng Yun, this time I can't save you. You better flee as soon as you can. The middle-aged man sneered. By the way, once you go back to your home, tell your mother I will no longer have anything to do with the Zheng clan. I do not want to be dragged down by someone else's mistake. One protects their own interest, each for themselves. Moreover, he's done enough for the Zheng clan thus far. They're already 3 generations apart, thus making them distant relatives at best. Like bringing Zheng Yin into the Holy Land and getting her the post as the maid of the Holy Lord. That's already a favor he didn't need to do. Now that this distant niece of hers failed in winning the Holy Lord's heart, why should he continue to support such a girl or her family? Uncle! The maid became stupefied by the cruel reality and became flustered. What do you mean by that? The middle-aged man sneered some more. Do you know who you've offended? She's the strongest person in the human world. Others may not know this, but I've been following the Lord for many years. How can I not know her? Not only is her talent above everyone else's, she's also the wife of the king of the demons. Let's put it this way. If her husband summoned the horde of demons upon us, they could destroy the entire human world. Huffing to keep himself from losing composure, No, 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 they actually don't need that many demons, just a small fraction is enough. They can literally turn the human world into a territory of the demon realm. Do you understand? His chest would rise up and down in strides due to the anger he felt inside. Honestly, the man regretted helping the Zheng clan from the hearts down at this point. The maid's body froze as she looked up in dismay, those eyes popping out of reflex. All of this you are certain? Ho ho! The middle-aged man sarcastically ticked his lips into a snarling smirk. When did I ever lie to you? No one has lived on the Holy Island for many years now. Not even the princess lives there. Do you know why? It's because the Holy Lord has gifted the island to her long ago. Only she is eligible to live there. The maid's face got pale like a ghost. Even the princess cannot live on the island, only she can? Uncle, it can't be that the Lord really likes her? Like her? Indeed, the Lord really does like her. But as a daughter-in-law. Sadly, that person didn't have the young master in her eye, and the union fell apart and never came to fruition. Despite all that, the Lord still takes her as a daughter in his eye. That's how highly prized she is to everyone in the Holy Land. The middle-aged man knew the thought running through her distant niece's mind, and wanted to snuff it out before it blew out of proportion. Zheng Yun's body turned to stone in that instant. Standing there with the breeze blowing against her body, the maid never felt so afraid in her entire life. In fact, her entire back had become drenched in sweat by this stage. The Medicine Sects and Misty Fairy Houses Fight 3. As it so happens, it's precisely at this moment where the maid turned to face the palace grounds that Bai Yan and her kids came out of the door. Immediately, endless panic filled the maid's heart. In the face of such a grand person, who wouldn't be afraid? None in the Holy Land would ever dare provoke this individual. Yet she, a lowly servant, did. So, when their line of sight met, Zheng Yun promptly turned tail and fled in the other direction. She only wants to get out of this nightmarish land and run home, regardless of the consequences. Mother, isn't that the auntie-maid who was around Grandpa Chu ran earlier? The pipsqueak asks innocently. Bai Yin looked over in the indicated direction and nodded slowly. Are we that terrible? Why did she see us and run like a fleeing dog? The girl pinches her lips in confusion. I am so cute and I don't eat people, why is she scared of me? Bai Xiachen also glanced over in that direction and answered instead. Someone made a mistake, so of course they will be scared. That's what you call a guilty consciousness, Ling Yan. Someone probably told her about Mother's identity. That's why she fled the moment she saw us. Pity. Mother never took her seriously. She didn't need to run to begin with. Let's go. Bai Yan understood what her boy was indicating at, and patted her eldest's head. We don't have time to waste on inconsequential people. Your grandfather is still waiting for us. Okay. The steambun smiles widely with his teeth showing. I wonder if granduncle is around at the medicine sect. I wonder if he's married yet. If not, I bet great-grandfather will grow anxious because of that. Bai Yan's eyes fell into a bit of trance. Looking back at things, if I hadn't met Bai Zhongping back then, would I have discovered my own background? Forming a warm smile at the impending reunion with her relatives, Bai Yan's mood immediately lightened up. Come, we're going home. The medicine sect was located atop of a high-standing mountain. Due to the high altitude and difficult route to reach this great power, it's not often that they get visitors. Fortunately, the person in charge of watching the entrance gate was a person from years ago. He only needed a glance to recognize Bai Yin, so no trouble occurred here. In fact, the person was so ecstatic that he ran ahead to inform the master of this place ahead of the family. Inside the main courtyard, Bai Changfeng was currently playing a game of tabletop chess with his in-law counterpart. No more. After Chief Wu Wei of the Misty Fairy House placed his last piece, the old Gramps shamelessly flipped the game board after seeing there's no more room for him to move. My mind is not calm today. I don't want to play anymore. We can continue tomorrow. Chief Wu Wei faintly chuckles. A loss is a loss, what excuse is there? So what if I lose a chess game? In the end, my granddaughter still chose to use my last name. In that respect, I already won. Bai Changfeng shot back with a grunt, his face full of pride. The medicine sects and misty fairy houses fight 5. My lord, my lord. Suddenly, a sound of joy came from the outside and caught everyone's attention. Originally, Bai Changfeng was still disgruntled and high face, but as soon as he saw who it was, his temper immediately subsided and made a wary look. My lord, the young miss is back. Making a startled face, the old grandfather and ruler of the medicine sect promptly jumped up. Is it Ninger my daughter or Yen Yen my granddaughter? It's Miss Bai Yen. Miss Bai Yen is back, along with the little master. Wah! Not needing to tell him further, Bai Changfeng's figure instantly disappeared into a blur. He's running for the outside to receive his precious granddaughter and great-grandson. Even from afar, the old grandfather could see that dazzling red figure and adorable youngster. However, he didn't expect to find 2 other adorable kids walking alongside the pair. Yen Yen! Bai Changfeng flew into a joyous cry, the tears nearly falling out. It's been well over 2 years since the woman left this place. Therefore, it's no wonder the grandfather would be so emotional. Grandfather, uncle. Bai Yen smiled and warmly greeted her family members who arrived in quick succession. Grandpa, grandma, you're also here. Jun Tian, you grandma. Quietly wiped the tears coming off of her eyes at being addressed. You're back. Yes, I'm back, said Bai Yen with an emotional voice as well. Are all of you doing well? Yes, of course we're doing well, Yin Yen. There's no problem at all. Aside from your grandfather and grandpa constantly fighting, there's nothing out of the ordinary. As soon as the mistress of the Misty Fairy House said that, the entire air around the group dampened. Firstly, it was Bai Changfeng who flailed his hands around in the air, unsure of what to say as an excuse for his behavior. Following second was Chief Wu Wei, who made an ashamed face at being ousted by his own wife. Great-grandfather, do you often fight? Bai Xiachen stepped forward and began lecturing his elders like a good adult. Fighting is not a good habit. If you continue to fight, then you will make mother angry. If she is angry, then I will be very upset. And if I'm upset, then bad things will happen. Bai Changfeng coughs awkwardly at the boy's antics. Misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding. Your grandpa Wu Wei and I are perfectly good. We're just playing around. I hope that's the case. The steambun holds himself high and mighty as he nods. Chuckling at her eldest's humorous speech, Bai Yen ruffles her son's hair as compliment. Xiachen is right. We are family, we should care for each other and not fight. That's not a good example to make. If I learn of you 2 fighting again next time. She narrows her eyes in at the 2 grandpas and smiled meaningfully. I will go live at the Holy Land from now on. I do have an excellent relationship with my shifus, although they are quite noisy at times, but they won't fight. Bai Changfeng and Chief Wu Wei's strength are both very strong. Even if they are joking around when sparring, they would inevitably make a mistake somewhere down the line and hurt each other. Therefore, the fighting must be stopped. Okay, I'll never fight this old thing again. I'll listen to my baby granddaughter. Bai Changfeng bellows out a hearty laugh, and reassuringly says this. Chief Wu Wei immediately stared at his counterpart, before turning to smile at his granddaughter in an appeasing manner. Of course. We will do as you wish, Yin Yen. If you don't want us fighting, then we will not fight anymore. The medicine sects and misty fairy houses fight 6. Isn't that better, great-grandfathers? Bai Xiachen raised a bright smile. You can't make mother angry, ah. Yes, great-grandfather here understands my good child. Bai Changfeng jovially laughs. You are always watching over your mother like a good son that you are. That is, of course. My mother gave birth to me and suffered so much. It's only right that I be filial to her. Looking at the little guy's young and lovely face, Bai Changfeng's heart became warm and appeased. Yen Yen is so lucky to have a son like Xiachen, so witty and clever, that knows how to be good to their own parent. Unlike the Zhamping of mine, this boy is already so old, yet he's not getting a wife or child yet. Oh, just thinking of this is making me angry. Thinking up to here, the medicine lord promptly shot a stare back over to his son who's standing in the rear. What did I do now to provoke this old boy? The poor man was clueless as to why his old man would do this, and made an inexplicable face. Yen Yen, these 2 children are. Jun Tian, you being the only other female present, didn't miss the twins unlike the male counterparts. She had long heard of Bai Yin giving birth to more children, so this wasn't hard to guess who they are. Grandma, this is my daughter and son, Ling Yin and Jin Tian. Go up, the both of you, go greet your great-grandfathers and grandmother. The other one behind them sulking is your granduncle. Hello great-grandfathers, great-grandmother and granduncle. Ling Yin and Jin Tian's voice were both very soft and adorable, letting all those who hear them melt away like a marshmallow. Jun Tian Yu was the most affected, and nearly had a crying fit at her new great-grandchildren. Great-grandmother, didn't prepare a proper gift, since all of my good belongings are at home. In that case, why don't you two inherit the Misty Fairy House as my gift instead? Bai Changfeng immediately shot a look to his in-law's shameless face. He's a gentleman, though a grumpy one, but that doesn't mean he won't compete with a woman of his age. Ling Yin, Jin Tian, don't listen to her. What's so fun about the Misty Fairy House anyways? It's better to stay at the medicine sect with me since it's more fun. Jin Tian, the little glutton, had his thumb in his mouth as he replied. Is there delicious things? Yes, of course. Bai Changfeng's eyes lit up with hope. I got a lot of delicious snacks in store for you. If you like, I can even invite the top chefs of the continent here. They can cook all sorts of delicious food for you, my dear child. Jun Tian Yu chuckled at the man's promise. Oh Lord Changfeng, did you forget my fairy house already employed the best chefs out there? What can you make here that the excellent cooks at my home can't? Plus, there are plenty of unique ingredients found only in the mountains of the fairy house. How can you compete with us? Ho ho, as long as these two little ones desire it, I can get anything I need. There's nothing I can't do for them. There's nothing one couldn't do if they put their minds to it. So what if the fairy house employed some legendary cooks? He could offer them his Dan pills as trade to come work here instead. He got plenty, and doesn't those people wouldn't be tempted? Great-grandfather, did you ask me for permission when trying to rob my little brother and sister? Bai Shachen's face got all black like a charcoal. Jin Tian must inherit the demon realm one day, so he must go back. Bai Changfeng looked to the steam bun in shock. Didn't your father name you the crown prince? Why are you throwing the demon realm on your little brother? What are you going to do then? I of course am going to travel the world with Ling Yin. Bai Shachen cocks his chin high, proud declaration. Dream on if anyone thinks I'm going to be a demon king. I only need mother and my sister. I don't want no demon realm dragging me down. It's better for Jin Tian to shoulder this responsibility. Return to the lawn house 1. Bai Changfeng's mind flashed with an idea. If the demon realm is under little Jin Tian's control, then my medicine sect can. Yet before the old Gramps could speak his mind, the steam bun had already caught onto the old fox, and got alarmed. No, great-grandfather, you can't look at me, I won't do it. I need to take my sister out on a journey around the world. I don't have time to manage the medicine sect. Having said that, he turned his attention over to Chief Wu Wei and his wife. The same is true of the fairy house, don't throw them over my head. Making an embarrassed face at being called out, Chief Wu Wei deflates and understood his own sneaky fox was dead before birth. However, that doesn't mean there's no alternatives. Placing his fist to the mouth for a cough to clear his throat, the fairy lord was a clever one. Then how about Ling Yin? She's here too. Or, don't even think about my sister, I won't let you have her. Bai Shachen hurriedly pulled the pipsqueak behind his back into a protective stance, his eyes nervous like those old Gramps would snatch her away. Grandfather, Grandpa, you can seek my uncles to help, can you not? I know Uncle Zhampeng and Uncle Sun Huan is capable enough. Once said, Bai Yin shoots a grinning look at the only uncle present in the rear. She's repaying the debt of him, trying to throw the medicine sect over her own head from way back. Note: Sun Huan is Heavenly's younger brother, the womanizer. Bai Zhamping's face instantly a shade of white. It's not easy for me to lose the burden of the medicine sect. How did it end up over my head again? A humph. Zhamping promptly coughs to get their attention. Father, you also know my ability. I am only interested in training myself. If the medicine sect falls on my hand, it will be ruined sooner or later. I believe it's best to wait for Yin Yin, to give us a new heir again down the road. Chief Wu Wei frowns and cuts in. How can one be enough? My fairy house also needs one. No matter what, I can't rely on my second son to carry the banner. Aside from womanizing, he's good for nothing else. At least Zhongping is obsessed with growing himself. Meanwhile, Sun Huan only knows how to flirt with those females flocking around himself day and night. Immediately, Bai Yin recalled back to the handsome yet flirtatious picture of that second uncle from her father's sides of the family. Their first meeting was of Sun Huan trying to hit on herself, and ended up making a fool of himself in the end. At least Uncle Sun Huan isn't out making trouble everywhere. If he is, then that would be troublesome. Then that's decided. Bai Changfeng spoke with a sigh of relief. Yin Yin, you and Di Song need to work harder, and give us some more children. That will solve all the problems we have. This, I'll do my best. Bai Yin gets flushed red from embarrassment. Why does it feel like these two are treating their respective powers like it's a hot potato needing to be tossed away? Bai Xiachen didn't object to the proposal in this case. For the steam bun, so long as he and his little sister didn't get affected, then that's good. As for everyone else, well, they could handle the hot potato all they like. Yin Yin, have you visited the Holy Land yet? Bai Changfeng turns and suddenly asked this. Bai Yin nodded, softly replied. I just came over from that side. I also need to visit the Luhua Kingdom afterwards to meet everyone at the Lan House. It's unfortunate, but I only have a limited amount of time here. She still needs to find Di Song. Therefore it's the most she could do. Undoubtedly, Bai Changfeng and the rest were slightly disappointed by the poor news. They want to spend more time with Bai Yin. But they also knew she had a lot of work on hand and couldn't stay in one place for long. Yin Yin, if you got work to do, then don't mind us. Your grandfather and grandpa are perfectly fine the way they are. Jun Tian, you being the sensible grandmother, decides to lighten the mood. But if you have some time to spare, then do visit the fairy house. I know Elder Zhongnan and Zhongbei misses you a lot too. Return to the Lan house too. Bai Yan's heart quivered with emotions as she smiled. I'll go back and have a look at them for sure. Zhongnan and Zhongbei's relationship may not be as strong as her three shifas from the Holy Land, but they are genuine and still her Shifu. What's more, the love they gave couldn't be more authentic. She felt it, truly felt it, like a parent raising a child kind of truth. For that, she would never forget them. We should go now, there's still a lot of places we must visit. Jun Tianyu's eyes are a bit red as this grandmother grasped the woman's hand. She's reluctant to separate from her granddaughter after such a short reunion. Chief Wu Wei saw this, and immediately went over to his wife's side. He understood the pain this was causing and tightly hugged that shoulder, so she would let go. No words would be comforting, so he didn't speak. Oh right. Bai Yin suddenly remembered an important message she had to pass on. My father has found my mother. They are together at this point. The couple, who was initially still feeling sad, promptly froze in their hug. Instantly, a look of joy filled their faces. Is what you said true? Yin Feng found your mother? How come they didn't come home together? Flashing a spark of gloom in her eyes, Bai Yin didn't want to worry them. He is in a place that has a seal. For the time being they can't leave. But don't worry, he and my mother will return together. Ha ha ha. Laughing with tears flowing down his face, Chief Wu Wei kept nodding his head. That's good, that's good. As long as he is safe, then I can't ask for anything more. That year I did the stupidest thing possible, and nearly ruined Yin Feng. Now that when Yin Feng was safe and sound, the father felt the burden lifting from his shoulder. Jun Tianyu also felt relieved, and secretly wiped the tears from the corner of her eye. She's a mother. To be able to know her son was happy was something she always wanted. Yin Yin, you are really the lucky star of our fairy house. Since you appeared, we've not only got news of Ninga, your mother, they're also reunited. I'm so happy I can't begin to describe my happiness. Oh yes, did you know our two families have all reached the celestial rank? The celestial rank for a cultivator may not be much elsewhere, but in the human world, it's the pinnacle of power. Bai Yin would like to continue explaining her father's situation, but upon further thought, and the sensitivity of Heavenly's existence, she decides to hold it in. It's best for the man to explain it himself when the time comes. Grandfather, grandpa, uncle, grandma. It's time for us to go. The demon queen gets a bit emotional as she glanced over her relatives. I believe a time will come where we're all reunited again. Please wait for that day. Jun Tian quickly nodded in agreement. She's very proud of this granddaughter, and never questioned her ability to achieve anything in life. Then turning to her uncle Bai Zhampeng, Bai Yan's eyes grew naughty. Uncle, I know you are not getting any younger, so I hope the next time I return, you will have an aunt waiting for me. Bai Zhampeng's face turned to stone. I will try. Humph. Bai Changfeng snorts and sounded very displeased. You've been saying that for so long. You can't keep fooling us anymore. I'm giving you a final deadline. If you can't get a wife before Xiachen gets one, then I will stuff the medicine sect over your head. Father, you're really going too far. Bai Zhampeng grits his clattering teeth in horror. Just now when Bai Changfeng mentioned that he would let Bai Yan's children take over, he honest to God thought he was safe. When did his freedom become so frail and pricey? Return to the lawn house 3. Shut up. Wait until you bring back a wife, then we can talk. Until then, you as a man that doesn't have a wife or child have no right to talk. Bai Changfeng huffs and puffs, and was ready to blow his son apart. Bai Zhampeng couldn't talk back. Instead, he turns to Bai Yan for help using those pleading eyes. Yet, rather than speaking up for her uncle, Bai Yan acts like she didn't see him and chuckled. That's a good arrangement. That way we won't have to bother my children in the future. The medicine sect will depend on you, uncle. Hearing this, Bai Zhampeng's face turned green with despair. This girl thinks I can't find a woman home? No matter, Xiachen will take another decade before he gets a wife. I still have plenty of time. How hard can it be to fall in love? Let's go then, children. After giving her final farewell, Bai Yan led the way with her 3 kids for the next location. We're going to the Luhua Kingdom. Since Bai Yan first appeared in the Holy Land, the news of her return has spread like wildfire. Of the most shocked and happiest would have to be the beast tamer sect's leader Fang Yufeng, who swore fealty to the steam bun way back. You're saying, Mrs. Bai Yan and her son is back? Yes, my lord. We got credible confirmation that they say her heading into the Holy Land. Right now her current projection should be the medicine sect with the latest information we have. The person below respectfully reported. Fang Yufeng slowly sat back down on his chair after he jumped up earlier, his chest thumping uncontrollably with excitement. Have Elder Lei go seek an audience with Mrs. Bai Yan on our behalf. No, I better go in person instead. After all, she and her son is no longer the same anymore. Back then in the palace ground, he didn't know Bai Yan's identity and merely swore fealty to Bai Xiachen due to the glass dragon submitting to the boy. However, with more and more news returning of her grand feat over the years, he understood it's not only her son that's incredible and part of the prophecy, but she too was a woman of legendary proportion, like being the granddaughter of the medicine sect and fairy house, like her husband being the ruler of the demon realm. Without a doubt, he's absolutely grateful that the destined child in the prophecy wasn't Nangong Lin. I wonder if those of the Bai House and Crown Prince's manor were to be alive today, would they regret their decisions knowing her identity? Luhua Kingdom. Like always, the bustling noise from the tea shops and local vendors didn't change. It's just as lively as Bai Yan remembered while walking through memory lanes. However, right as she was about to come before the estate that she had in this kingdom, mainly kept in order by her subordinate Hualuo of the flower brothel, a loud commotion caught her ears from the side. It's a loud screeching cry of pain from the manor next to her own, accompanied then by a scolding voice of a middle-aged man, chasing a round ball of flesh through the front door. Stinking brat, you really grown now. How dare you tease girls in open daylight on the streets? I will definitely break your legs today. Return to the lawn house 4. Wang Diqiu angrily chased his son out from the inside with a whipping stick in hand. He's showing the brat what it means to be a human being. In response, the chubby repeatedly jumped and rolled at the pain on his butt. He's screaming like a banshee. which soon caused the passerby on the street to look over. Suddenly, Wang Duchio's whipping action stopped, his face slowly looking up to make a surprised face at the woman standing at the neighboring door. "Mr. Wang, it's been a long time." Bai Yan greets the former neighbors with a friendly smile. Even after several years, these two are still like this and unable to control their temper and attitude. "Boss!" Wang Xiaoping the chubby exclaims in joy after seeing the steambun's figure. He's all tears and sobs all over that squealy face. "Boss, you are finally back. Woohoo, my father wants to kill me, you must save me." Bai Xiachen looked to his friend who's leaking snot all over. Immediately his expression sank. "Xiaoping, did you make your father angry again?" I didn't do much. I only teased a young lady on the street a bit. I didn't touch her or anything really." The chubby cries and defends himself. "Wang Xiaoping, it is wrong to tease a little girl. You must change this bad habit of yours. Otherwise no one will want to be your wife later." The way he speaks, the steambun sounds like he's a small adult already and knows better. Wang Duchio's heart instantly sighed at this image. Look at how sensible other people's children are. And look at his own. How could there be a comparison? He would be lucky if this darn brat didn't send him to an early grave. "Mr. Duchio, how come you are here in the Luhua Kingdom, and not at the fairy house?" Bai Yan didn't pay heed to the kid's conversation, and spoke with her neighbor instead. Making a friendly smile, the man understood why she would ask such a question. "Actually, I chose to come live here. Staying at the fairy house to act as the gatekeeper is simply not suitable for me anymore after experiencing the freedom on the outside. That's why I brought my kids with me and moved back here." Bai Yan raised an eyebrow. "That's good to hear. I thought you were wronged by the fairy house and left." "Wronged? How is that possible, Mrs. Bai Yan? After they learned of my connection with you and Xiachen, everyone treats me with the utmost respect and wouldn't think about crossing me." Wang Duchio proudly cocks his head up like a damn peacock. Like father, like son. The chubby immediately shot his father a remark to bring him back to earth. "If it weren't for me being friends with boss, would you even have the opportunity to know Sister Bai Yan?" Wang Duchio's prideful face instantly disappeared over his son's call out. Going green, the man shot a fierce stare at the chubby for warning. And sure enough, it worked and sent the kid packing to hide behind Bai Xiachen for cover. "Boss, this lovely little sister is..." Suddenly, Wang Xiaoping noticed the tiny pipsqueak standing next to Bai Yan. His eyes lit up at the sight of the adorableness. On the other hand, Bai Xiachen's face went black. "Xiaoping, I'm warning you. She's my little sister, so you better not have any ideas about her. Otherwise I will break your leg." "Haha. If she's your little sister, then she's my little sister. How can I have ideas about my little sister?" The chubby pats his chest and spoke with reassurance. "Don't worry. I will do my utmost to protect our sister." First shooting his friend a look, then assessing that chubbiness, the steambun puckers his lip to the side and commented, "Don't assume my sister is weak just because of her age. She is likely stronger than you, so if there's danger, she will probably have to protect you instead." Return to the lawn house 5. "How is that possible?" Wang Xiaoping made a disbelieving face. "Your sister is still so young. How can she protect me?" Di Lingyan's beamed with naughty light after that remark. With a grinning face, she caught up to the chubby's spot and reached out to grab his hand. All smiles at the physical contact. "Boss, your little sister is trying to be friends with me. Is painful. From the surface, the pipsqueak's hand doesn't appear strong or threatening, but the grip she performed on the chubby was on a level he never experienced. It's crushing his bone and causing the boy to shout and tear up. "Chubby brother, how come you are so frail?" Di Lingyan loosens her tiny hand and spoke with glee in those eyes. "Even I am stronger than you." Rubbing his hand like an injured rabbit, the chubby showed confusion and fear at the girl's innocent appearance. This was especially true when the pipsqueak started to swing her body left and right. It's alarming and caused him to jolt backwards. Wang Duchio was equally as shocked. This little girl is only 2 years old at best, right? A 2 years old have this much power? As expected of Bai Yan's daughter. Haha. Wang Duchio snickers a grin at his own son. that face taking joy in the disaster befalling the chubby. How is that? I like to see you go tease girls again. You think you can tease just anyone? Better let you learn the hard way before it's too late. The chubby puffs his cheeks up like a pumpkin over the remark. Is this even my old man? How can he be so happy that his son is being taught a lesson? Mr. Duccio, I'm going to visit the lawn house right now. If someone from the flower brothel visits, could you pass on a message for me to have them gather at my manor until my return? Okay. Wang Duccio nodded. During this period, they've often sent people over to clean your estate. I'm sure one of them will be coming later today. Bai Yin smiled with warmth and sighed. Thank you, then I'll leave the matter to you. Xiachen Ling Yan Jin Tian, come, we're going now. Having said that, she turned for the lawn house in the other direction. The lawn house, compared with the fall of a few years ago, have long transformed into a new light. Countless strong people would visit just so they could have a chance to make a connection with the three great powers through their hands. However, this family never thought about doing that, hence their refusal to entertain these individuals, and turned a blind eye. Unfortunately, those hopeful souls didn't understand this fact, and continued to pester the Lan house. As a result, old Lord Lan was forced to stay inside his home for a period of time. Only then did the stampede of visitors quench for a while. Nevertheless, the number of visitors continued to block the doors of the estate. This was the startling picture that welcomed Bai Yin when she arrived outside to the long lines. Mother, are these relatives of the Lan house? Why haven't I met them before? Bai Xiachen rubs his nose and asked in bewilderment. I suspect they are here seeking an audience with them. Bai Yin shrugged. Xiachen, look after your siblings while we're here. Okay. The steam bun was afraid of them hurting her sister, so he immediately pulled the pipsqueak closer, while leaving the little glutton to their mother. Hey, don't cut in line. It's then a person yelled in scolding tone while they walked over. Do you not see us all waiting in line? If want to meet Lord Lan, then wait like the rest of us in the back. Bai Yin ignored this rude man and continued forward. She had no reason to entertain these strangers. Return to the lawn house 6. Bai Xiachen's eyebrow gently formed a frown at the voice, but since he saw Bai Yin didn't pay the guy any heed, he didn't either and continued to follow. Hey, I'm talking to you. Did you hear that? What's wrong with you? The young man in line saw that he's being ignored and spoke again with more vigor in his angry voice. However, right as he's about to call Bai Yin out some more, the guards to the lawn house noticed the commotion and promptly came over. Lady Bai Yin, you're back. The guard was full of excitement that he nearly stuttered in his words. Do you need me to inform the housemaster? No, I'll just go in on my own. Bai Yin dismissively shakes her head and walked in without turning around. The young man stared blankly at the woman in red without noticing she had already gone inside. He's stiff and awkward when asking the doorman. This brother, just now that lady. Which lady of the lawn house is she? The guard looked back at the youth, his face unfriendly to say the least. What do you think? Lady, Bai Yin? How many Bai Yin was there in the lawn house? The youth's face got palish white, his teeth beginning to clatter, due to the intense fear filling his veins. Haha, aside from the adopted daughter of the lawn house, who else would I address so politely? You really got some nerve. How dare you behave rudely before her ladyship? I bet no one in the entire land dares to do what you just did. The youth went numb as he collapsed to the ground. Mrs. Lan Yu's adopted daughter, the disciple of the Holy Land's elders, the granddaughter of the medicine sect in Fairy House. God, I dared to have the lawn house's lady go to the back and line up? Others are coming to their senses by then. With sympathetic eyes toward the youth, they wanted to both snicker and laugh at the same time. Thank goodness we didn't speak up earlier. Otherwise we will be in the same shoe as him. He would be lucky if he's not hated by the lawn house. The youth's face was getting whiter and whiter after understanding the blunder he's incurred. Not daring to stay any longer, he quickly climbs up from the ground and fled with the tail behind his legs. Guard brother, when will old Lord Lan be willing to meet guests? Only after that fleeing figure disappear from view, did a person ask. Oh, our housemaster is feeling unwell, so we're not meeting guests. And wow, when did a cultivator become so frail? Who you kidding? But no one dared to question the doorman's word and continued. That's all right. We can keep waiting here until old Lord Lon is well and willing to meet us. Don't mind us, Mr. Guard, we will be fine right here. These people are all famous individuals on these parts, respected and strong in their own rights. Yet in front of a lowly doorman, they had no choice but to keep a friendly attitude without looking weak. As the old saying goes, once a person rises, all the cronies beneath them gets it too. Lawn House Inner Courtyard. Di Ling Yan's bright little eyes curiously scanned the place with shining stars flashing from within. Mother, is this great-grandfather Lan's home? Yes. Bai Yin warmly caresses her daughter's hair. This is where your grandmother Lan Yu grew it from. I was adopted by her during my childhood, and was greatly loved. Her side of the family too. They're all wonderful people who wouldn't yield to power and evil. During my darkest time, they are the ones who stood by my side, so don't forget this bond. That said, a strong powerful emotion swirls out from within those eyes. Bai Yin couldn't stop staring at the familiar grounds that gave her such good memories. The visitors won. Cousin, you are back. A cry of surprise came from the front. When Bai Yin looked up, she's suddenly welcomed by that woman wearing her iconic light blue dress and rushing over. She's all smiles and sweet like a wonderful apple. Compared with a few years ago, today's Lan Xiaoyan was more beautiful and mature, giving off a genuine air of beauty with posture. Big Bai. It's exactly in the moment where Bai Yin wanted to open her mouth. Another familiar voice cuts in from the side. Stunned due to how unexpected this was, Bai Yin had to take a second to shift her sight over to that young white figure. He has a beautiful handsome face. Like the girl, the young man was also dyed with excitement as he strolled over. Wenru, why is this guy at the Lan house? Using the momentary stupor due to his own entry, Wenru, the guy who lost to Bai Yin in a contest all those years ago, quickly came up and made a aggrieved face. He's all sad and pitiful like an abandoned pet who needs comfort from his mistress. Big Bai, you and little Bai left for so many years. Why didn't you come back sooner? I've been so lonely without company. Looking at the boy's silly yet lovable face, Bai Yin smirked in amusement as she rubbed her own chin in thought. Wenru, shouldn't you be explaining to me on why you're here first? When did you become so familiar with the Lan house? Rubbing his nose shyly, the guy shot a peek over to Lan Xiaoyan before answering. Well, isn't Xiaoyan your cousin? Since you left, I've been watching over the Lan house for you. This way I can also know the first moment you come back. Don't you know how hard it is to keep track of your whereabouts? Is that right? Bai Yan's grin deepens greatly as her sight shifted between the two like she's seeing candy in a jar. Why do I feel like you're out for something else instead? Hearing this, Wenru immediately lowered his head in embarrassment because he got caught. Indeed, he's here for Lan Xiaoyan. After his first meeting with this frank and kind girl, he's been captivated by her free-spirited personality. It's just that some words mustn't be spoken aloud, otherwise even the friendship would be gone. Cousin, you misunderstood Sir Wenru. Lan Xiaoyan hooks her arms around Bai Yan's. He came on behalf of the flower brothel. There's no other meaning. Bai Yan and Bai Xiachen shot each other a look due to this behavior. When did she begin to defend for others? Big Bai. Wenru's clear clean eyes turns to the twins. This must be the twins mentioned by Xiaoyan before. Oh my, they are so lovely. Only you and your husband can produce such fine children. He reached out his hand and pinched the twins' cheek. Ling Yin was very curious at this handsome young man. However, her twin brother Jin Tian was more upset due to being chubbier. Uncle, I'm already fatter than my sister and brother. If you keep pinching my cheek, then I will grow even fatter. Jin Tian protests unhappily. The visitors too. In reality, Jin Tian wasn't considered chubby at all. His body was small and could be lifted up by one hand. However, he had baby fat on his face that never faded. Therefore he appeared more chubby than he really was. Xiaoyan, who did you say just came back? Old Lord Lan and others came running after hearing the news. There's a long line behind the old grandpa due to the commotion. But none were more emotional than the old madam with her crutch in hand. She's choking for words as the tears swelled outward. Cousin. Lan Xiaoling and Lan Xiaoyan were full of joy. They are Bai Yan's two male cousin, and was just as happy to see their lucky star. And Xiaocheng, you're all back. With great happiness of her own, Bai Yan felt so warmed inside at the family gathered before herself. Grandfather, grandmother, big cousin, second cousin, I'm back. How come uncle and aunt is missing? Oh, don't worry, Yen Yen. My father is accompanying my mother to her side of the family. I bet they would be turning in their stomachs if they knew you were coming back during their visit. Lan Xiaoyan explains gleefully and gives the woman another hug. It's been more than 2 years since Bai Yan left the human world. You rascal. Why didn't you tell us in advance that you were coming back? Old Lord Lan huffs a grunt despite being equally as excited. He just couldn't keep his old habits away and puts on a stubborn front. If you had given us notice, I would have had the servants prepare everything and removed those outside the door. They didn't try to block you, did they? Toward these unwelcome door knockers, all of the family members present were resentful and disliked the attention. They've been harassed on multiple occasions already, so staying inside was their only recourse. Speaking of which, I've wanted to ask this myself. Bai Yan's mood seems to get serious. Do all those people come to the lawn house every day? The old Gramps sighed. That's already considered small. Before it was the entire street being flooded. I couldn't do anything, so I and the rest of the family hid ourselves inside the home. Only then did some of them lose the idea of seeing us. Bai Yan's frown grew deeper as a result. She had previously let loose her relationship with the lawn house, so they would rise and not be picked on again. But if it's going to affect their lives, then what point was there? Grandfather, next time don't hold back and drive them away. It doesn't matter if you throw them out or use a broom. Bai Yan sneered with contempt at those people who wants to use her family. Taken aback for a bit, old Lord Lan's voice sounded hesitant. Is that okay? Wouldn't it affect the medicine sect's reputation? What if people start saying we are using your connection to bully the weak? What of it? This land has always been about the strong. Bai Yan doesn't hold back. Since the lawn house is at the top, then it's only normal we behave as such. Why should we care about what others think when they have nothing to do with us? In the future, let the public know that a visitation slip must be sent beforehand. And if they don't get a reply, that's a rejection on your part. The visitors 3. Old Lord Lan got quiet there. He's lived for so long yet didn't understand that simple fact. On this piece of land, the strong holds the truth, and the weak can only submit. Since their lawn house has the support of the medicine sect, what should they be afraid of? Of course, if it's only with the lawn house, then this old grandfather would have driven them away without a second of hesitation. But this wasn't. What if their actions brought a bad name to Bai Yan and those close to her? That wasn't an outcome he wanted to become a reality. Big cousin, second cousin, you will need to take charge of the lawn house in the future. If Grandpa gets too worried and can't decide, both of you make it for him instead. Bai Yan smiles reassuringly. Our lawn house will never need to rely on others to dictate our actions from now on. The eyes of the Lan brothers were beaming. They had long wanted to drive those annoying pests away, so this permission was a genuine blessing. Seriously, it's bad enough they're stopping them from going outside like usual. It's even worse when they try to dump their daughters into their hands like some sort of gift. It's insane. Bai Yan then turns back to her grandfather, old Lord Lan. Grandfather, from my recollection, you were never one to do things so wishy-washy. Why are you distorting your own standards now? Is it because of me? In that case, I'm telling you that you need to fear nothing. No one can make me or any of us do what they want. It will only be us dictating others now and into the future. Indeed, old Lord Lan was worrying about too many things. Before he would dare make a stand before the royal family despite having no backing. And what did he do now? He's bending his own standards after gaining status and power. If that's not irony, then what else was it? In addition, you have to remember, grandfather. Bai Yan's expression grew serious. Standing behind you isn't the medicine sect, but me. I do not need to rely on anyone else to protect others. I alone am enough to make this land tremble. No matter what happens, I will always stand behind you and the rest of the family. If others have an opinion, then they can take it up with me in the demon realm. I like to see them cross over to see me if they dare. After that proud proclamation, Bai Yan's figure was powerful and reliable, giving off a dominating air akin to her own husband's. Feeling emotional at the support, old Lord Lan quickly nodded. I understand. I've been foolish for no real reason. From now on I won't lower my standards for the sake of others. I will only do what we like. That's right. Bai Yan smiles right into her eye after hearing what she wanted. Grandfather, your current strength is also at the celestial rank. It's time you take out the air of being a supreme being in these lands. I do not want someone to mistake the Lan house as an easy target for no apparent reason other than being quiet. Having your lives affect like this is silly and unreasonable. If I had known my exposure would cause such trouble for all of you, then I would have warned the world loud and clear from the very beginning. When she refined the divine god Dan pills, she had divided it among her family and friends. One of them was old Lord Lan, who got a share for the first batch. Ha 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 ha. The old Gramps cheerfully laughed. A few years ago, he wouldn't even dream about becoming one of the strongest beings on these lands. And now it's reality. Divine God Dan Pill? Lan Xiaoyan hurriedly spoke up with intense curiosity. Cousin, do you still have more of those pills? The visitors for. Bai Yin shook her head. I've distributed all of the ones I refined before. If necessary, I can make more for you. However, your strength is not enough to take it yet. It's too risky the way you are. First ascend to a higher rank, then we will see if you're suitable for that. Yes, cousin. The Demon Queen's assurance was enough for Lan Xiaoyan. She's never doubted her cousin, so she's not going to start now. Ling Yan Jin Tian, go greet your great-grandfather and great-grandmothers. Bai Yin pats the twins to come forward. The two little ones never shied away since birth, so they sweetly came before the two grandparents. Hello great-grandfather, great-grandmother. Ache, good child. Old Madame Lan crouched down and lovingly gave the two soft buns a heart hug to satiate her melting heart. The more she looked, the happier appeared on the face. Grandma, you're a lot younger looking than before. Bai Yin saw that there was no trace of wrinkles on her grandmother and brought it up. Really? Old Madame Lan stroked her face in joy. It's probably because of the medicine you gave me before. I always take one each month. Now when I go out no one will even believe me when I say I'm 60-something years old. Cultivators age like everyone else, but once they achieve a certain power level, they would stop aging on the surface. For someone like old Madame Lan, she's not nearly strong enough to be eternally youthful on the surface. Hence her reliance on Bai Yan's medicine and drugs to retain her youthful appearance. Cousin, how long are you going to be back this time? Lan Xiaoyan, the second male cousin, asks with smiles of his own. We all miss you a lot. Bai Yan hung her eyes down due to her disappointing answer. I will probably go back to the demon realm tomorrow. This time I'm only here to show Ling Yan and Jin Tian the place I used to live. They never seen any of you, so I wanted them to at least get that. Is that so? Lan Xiaoyan couldn't hide the disappointment in his eyes. He expected more than a night of staying, since it's their long-awaited reunion. Yen. Old Madame Lan puts the two milk buns down and reached out to hold the woman's hand. Will you be staying here at the Lan estate tonight? Bai Yin wanted to refuse, but suddenly saw hopeful light in her grandmother's eyes. Whatever word she had in mind was lost to the tummy. Okay, we will stay here for the night. Besides, I believe there will be other people coming after they hear of my return. If any of you get word of the flower brothel and demon beast sect coming, let them come see me. Bai Yin pauses to think. And if Wang Diqiu and his son comes too, go ahead and let them come see me as well. Smiles all over the face, old Madame Lan pats her granddaughter's hand in delight. Then what about the palace? Her Highness the Dowager was mentioning about you before. If the Queen Mother and my student Nangong Zhuan wants to come then that's fine too. As for everyone else, I'm not interested. She did not forget how the world treated her prior to the relationship with the Holy Land was exposed. Aside from those mentioned few people, she had no reason to keep contact with anyone else. Okay, go rest first. I'm sure you and the kids are tired after a long journey back. Old Madame Lan relaxes after getting her wish. The visitors 5. Cousin, I've kept the room you used to use in proper condition. You can go ahead and use it right away. But Ling Yin and Jin Tian will need a new room. Lan Xiaoyan grins mischievously. And I want to sleep with you today, cousin. Bai Xiachen immediately clung onto his mother's arm after that comment, and stared at the girl with alertness. Auntie, how come you are trying to hog my mother as soon as we arrive? I know my father will not spare you if he finds out. Puckering her lips into a pinch. What does it matter, Xiachum? Your father is not around right now. It's not often I get to see your mother, so let me have this one night. If not, let Ling Yan and Jin Tian sleep with me tonight. I want to snuggle with them. I'm sure they are soft and cuddly. Bai Xiachen gawked in astonishment. Recalling back to the past, this auntie of his would stick to him like glue. And now he's got a feeling that he's an extra that's unwanted. Bai Yan reached out and knocked her cousin's head. Quit making a fuss, you go rest by yourself. Xiachen is going to accompany Ling Yan, and Jin Tian likes to sleep by himself. As for me, I'm used to sleeping on my own too. Ah, Lan Xiaoyan pouts like a child that didn't get their toy. Xiachen, Ling Yan, Jin Tian, go have a good rest for now. We will be getting some visitors later. Making a lazy stretch, Bai Yan found herself to be more and more tired recently. This wasn't exactly normal, yet it wasn't so odd either that it warrants special attention. Since Bai Yan appeared on the human world, news of her return spread like wildfire and caused people from all over to visit. As a result, the entire Luhua kingdom was suddenly bombarded by travelers making their way over to the Lan house. Unfortunately for these hopeful individuals, the Lan house wasn't so kind this time around. They're putting up a tough front and blocked off their doors to drive them away. This saddened the visitors, but it also relieved the guards at the door since they no longer needed to deal with this bunch. Sunset. At this moment in the back courtyard of the Lan house, Bai Yan was laying comfortably inside a pavilion with her legs stretched out like a seductive snake. She's incredibly mesmerizing in her posture that could easily win a man over. Hualuo Fong Yufeng, I didn't expect both of you to arrive at the same time. It's been so long since we met. Bai Yan gracefully sat up, her lips donning a stunning smile. How is the flower brothel and demon beast sect doing? Hualuo, the head lady of the brothel, spoke first. Mistress, I've been developing as you instructed. If not for the 3 powers having celestial rank cultivators, we would have caught up long ago. Narrowing her eyes in at the last line, Bai Yan examines her subordinate with careful scrutiny. Gradually, she chuckles in appeasement. Very good. You've made incredible progress while I was away. With your strength, it's possible for you to take Divine God Dan pill to advance further. I believe it's due for you to head into the celestial rank. Full of joy on her face, the lady flew into elation. Thank you, mistress. Nangong Zhuan's will won. Milady. Then amid Bai Yan's momentary daze of watching the 2 people leaving, a maid hurried over and spoke. The palace's people have come. The palace. Bai Yan curves her lips into a great smile. Aside from Her Highness the Dowager and Nangong Zhuan, the others can stay outside. Once they know that she's back, it's unavoidable those from the court would come seeking an audience. However, there's only 2 who would be granted an audience. As for the rest, they could get lost for all she cares. But obviously this time the Demon Queen was wrong in her guess. Aside from the mentioned 2 people she's willing to meet, no one else came, including the previous king. They've been firmly warned to stay away by Nangong Zhuan, who has become the new king. Back then when Bai Yan accepted the bullied young orphan prince as her student, his life had gone through heaven and earth. No longer was he a disdained child. He was prized as the only connection to the great powers. On top of that, the previous king abducted the throne in haste and installed the boy as the new ruler. But time wasn't without its difficulties for Nangong Zhuan. At the beginning he knew nothing, nor did he want to use the lawn house and others to his own benefit. Of course, Bai Zhangping of the medicine sect knew of the boy's troubles and secretly moved things. But that didn't change the efforts of the young lad, who had no experience. Fortunately, he survived the great difficulties and earned his own place in life. Front courtyard. The afterglow of the sunset poured down and fell upon a young man who stood stoically along the leading path. He was accompanied by the dowager, who was clearly younger and alive than a few years ago. Majesties, the lady wants to see both of you now, the maid respectfully reports. Nangong Zhuan nodded to the young maid and took his grandmother's arm to head inside. Immediately after they entered to the back area, they were welcoming with the sight of that dazzling female in the pavilion. Just like in his memory, that reddish figure was a shining beam of hope, bringing warmth to his world at first glance. Even if Bai Yin never taught him anything but was his teacher only in name, she's given him way more than he could ever ask for. Dowager little Zhuan, you're here? Bai Yin stood up to welcome the two familiar faces, where she fell into a momentary trance after seeing the old queen's sleekish black hair. It's been a while since I met the dowager, but it appears she's gotten younger, looking like my grandmother here. They are probably using my Dan pills like instructed before. Flushing red in the eyes due to the emotions running through his vein, Nangong Zhuan was full of attachment towards this benefactor. Shifu, I did not fail to live up to your hopes. Right now, the Luhua kingdom has become the leader of the four kingdoms. Blinking after hearing those words, she promptly turned towards the youngster who has grown by leaps and bounds. He's no longer a young kid, but a mature young man who's quite handsome in his own right. Little Zhuan, you've grown magnificently. Also, you do need to address me as so. I took you as my student because I fancied your talent. But I failed as your teacher since I couldn't teach you anything over the years, due all the circumstances. Nangong Zhuan's will too. That word of being called Shifu left her feeling very much guilty inside. On the other hand, Nangong Zhuan was stunned and started at the woman with an inexplicable look of shock, like he's ready to cry. Shifu, do you not want me anymore? Bai Yin smiled and shook her head. I just feel that I failed in being your Shifu and doesn't deserve it. I taught you nothing so far. Whatever achievement you have today is your own effort. In just a few years, this boy's strength has increased a lot, and perhaps in the future he would stand at the peak of this world. It was Xiachen who saved me from the hands of that bully. I didn't have a mother, and it was you who let me have a taste of a mother's warmth in that few days we were together. In this life, I will only look to you as my Shifu and mother. Nangong Zhuan stubbornly raises his face, those eyes determined and unyielding. I know where you are now, isn't it just the celestial realm? Wait 10 years, after 10 years, I will definitely go find you. Bai Yan's smile became more and more obvious. All right, I'll gladly wait for you. Nangong Zhuan breaks into a smile at the approval. Shifu, my father ran away from home since last year and left me the Luhua kingdom. I'm not able to do it yet, but I promise that I will turn this kingdom into a nation worthy to stand beside the three great powers. I will turn it into an empire. That way you won't lose face when I go to the celestial realm. His Shifu was recognized as the most extraordinary person in these lands. Therefore, how could he bring shame to Bai Yan's prestige by bringing nothing to the table? It's good to have ambitions. Bai Yan pats the young lad on the shoulder. Since you already assumed the position of a king, where's your queen? Nangong Zhuan shakes his head. I don't want to marry a wife so quickly. I envy you and your husband Shifu. In the future, I also want to have only one love for one life. Until I meet a suitable woman, I won't marry. A cultivator's life expectancy was extremely long anyways. He had plenty of time to wait. That's fine, I like and support your idea. Bai Yin felt proud of the boy's determination and pleasing personality. Turning to the dowager, Your Highness, I hope that you won't force Zhuan to marry either. I want him to be happy. The Empress Dowager smiled bitterly as a response. I don't have a problem with my grandson not marrying either. But those ministers have other ideas in mind and constantly attempts to dump their daughters on him. I was hoping you can speak with them and refuse on Zhuan's behalf, Yenner. Bai Yin narrowed her eyes in thought. Why do kings and emperors have all numbers of wives? Probably not because the man himself actually liked those females, but rather it's because of the ministers wanting to send their daughters into the royal bedchamber. Highness, you can tell them to come speak to me next time. I will be happy to lecture them on this subject in the demon realm. Since the barrier separating all three realms are gone, I know they can travel if they dared. The dowager's heart slowly eased up at the promise. Going to the demon realm to find her? Those ministers wouldn't dare. Little Juan, I haven't taught you anything, so I've always felt guilty about failing you as your mentor. This is a good opportunity, so take these elixirs. They can help you greatly in your cultivation. Nangong Juan's Will 3. Bai Yin took out a few bottles from the storage ring and wanted to stuff them into Nangong Juan's hand. Yet, instead of accepting the gift, the lad quickly withdrew his hand and placed it behind himself. Shifu, I want to rely on my own strength to find you. I don't want your elixirs to enhance my own power. If I do, would that still be me? Nangong Juan's eyes became more and more determined. Moreover, I believe in myself, and one day, I will catch up with you with my own efforts. Between her astonished eyebrows, Bai Yin didn't miss the dazzling stars in the lad's gaze. It's powerful and strong without any hint of deception or weakness. After a long time, she puts away the bottles and laughed. All right, I will wait for you to come to me using your own ability. I also believe in you. With your talent, I know it won't take long. However, I will still teach you about alchemy and the experiences I gained during my own cultivation. Come back tomorrow, and I will have the materials ready. In fact, the book she planned to give the young king had been prepared before. She's only missing a few pages to complete the content. An extra day would allow her to finish it. This time, Nangong Juan did not refuse and formed a shallow smile of joy. Thank you, Shifu. Bai Yan's eyes nearly fell into a trance at that familiar manner of speaking. It reminded this demon queen too much of herself during times of hardship. Mother. It's then during her trance, a milky voice cuts in, followed closely by the sound of staggering steps rushing into her arms. Bai Xiachen had been following closely behind the baby milk bun with worry in his eyes. The boy's afraid of his little sister accidentally falling. Ling Yan, this is your granny dowager. Bai Yin places her daughter down after a brief hug. And this young boy is also your big brother. Hello, Granny Dowager. The little girl's smile was sweet, and her voice were soft and sticky like a rice dumpling. In particular were those two dimples on the cheek. It's like there's sweet wine in there, which warms the heart of those on the receiving end. Such a beautiful little girl. Is she your daughter? The dowager showed a completely surprised face. She had seen many little girls of this age, but none of them were as delicate and lovely as Di Ling Yin was. Her face was red and fluttering with sheen in those watery eyes. One only needs a glance to know she's clever and naughty. Such a little girl is really likable. Big brother. Di Ling Yin turns to Nangong Juan and spoke with her crisp cuddly voice. Hug. She opened her arms and looked like she wanted to hug. Nangong Zun's heart was about to melt under that adorableness. Without forethought, his body moved as requested and attempts to lift that baby. However, right as he did so, Bai Xiachen also moved and promptly pulled his little sister to one side behind himself. Ling Yan, how can you ask other boys for hugs? Confused as she blinked those eyes, the pipsqueak tilts her head. But isn't he my big brother too? Why can't I have hugs? She pouted as if she didn't understand why her big brother would be unhappy. Boss! Nangong Juan's immediately formed a smile with those clean eyes. It's been so long. That only made the pipsqueak even more confused. In her view, the new brother was clearly bigger than her big brother, so it didn't make sense to use the word boss. The fairy house's people are here, one. Bai Xiachen pursed his lips and stared at the young king with wariness in those eyes. Nangong Juan, I treat you like a brother, so you better not have any ideas about my sister. Just now, this bastard's eyes were about to stick to Ling Yan's body. Anyone can tell what he's thinking with a glance. A smile rose from Nangong Juan's young handsome self. patting his boss's shoulder. Boss, your sister is my sister. In this life, I won't let anyone bully our sister. After hearing this, Bai Xiaoqin's wariness finally eased up a little. You must remember your words today. If you dare hit on my sister, then me and my father will break your legs, you know. Faintly chuckling with a pang of sweat forming on his forehead, the young king understood how close he came to his own doom. There's no way he wouldn't know about his boss's protective nature of this young baby girl. After all, even before Ling Yan was before, the steam bun had already been talking about how he would cherish a little sister. Yan Yan, me and Juner is purely here to see you. The dowager smiled lovingly as she spoke. Now that we've seen your achievements, I can finally tell your mother Yuer that she can be at peace. Bai Yan's heart shook with emotions at that mention. She's got a lot of feelings about her adopted mother. Lan Yu was not her biological mother, but in her memory, this adoptive mother regarded her as her own. If it weren't for the things that happened later on, maybe the previous Bai Yan wouldn't have been so miserable. If you have the chance in the future, do come back and visit us in the Lu Hua Kingdom more often. We won't bother you now. Juner, accompany me to see old Madame Lan and the rest of the Lan house. I haven't seen my old friend for some time as well. The dowager sighed lightly due to how fate turned out. If my son Nangong Yuan, former king, had known Bai Yan would turn out so incredible, would he have stopped Nangong Yi's dissolution of the marriage arrangement? Unfortunately, there is no ifs in life. Even if Nangong Yi doesn't withdraw the marriage, I doubt Yenner would continue to accept that arrangement with her temperament. Yes, grandmother. Nangong Zhuan remains very respectful of her grandmother. Giving the tiny milk bun another look, the boy smiles gently as he leaned down. Sister Ling Yan, if you come again in the future, do come visit me. I will be happy to show you around if possible. After he said these words, the young king promptly turned away to depart under Bai Xiaoqin's popping eyes. Bai Yin quietly watched as the pair left. She too wanted to spend more time with those she knew, but she also knew this reunion was short-lived, and forcing it would only make it more painful. Suddenly, right as she was getting a little moody, due to the short amount of time she had, the Demon Queen noticed two familiar energy signatures flying over from the sky. Shifu Zhongnan, Shifu Zhongbei, how come you two are here? In the sky, the two old figures gradually descended onto the courtyard, their cheerful voices resonating in the air. Ha ha ha, you didn't come see us in the fairy house, so we naturally had to come after we got word of your return. Bai Yin grinned at that comment. You know you didn't need to come. I had planned to come see you too tomorrow, but since you're here now, that would save me another trip to the fairy house, so I guess it's a good choice. Everyone she wanted to see was now seen, meaning she won't need to spend another day traveling, and could go back to the demon realm at morning. Lassie, I haven't seen you for so long, how are you lately? Zhongbei laughed heartily as he touched the ground. By the way, how come your husband didn't accompany you on this trip? The fairy house's people are here too. With a blank face, she lowered her eyes to cover the dark emotions under those eyes. Then looking back up after a long moment, she lightly smiles. He has other things to do at this period, so I brought my children back only so they can experience meeting all of you. Xiaoqin, go find Jin Tian, and bring him here to meet his grandchiefess. Okay. The steam bun lights up, and quickly nodded before running off. Zhongnan watched that small figure leave before speaking. Xiaoqin has grown so much during his time away. He's starting to be much like you and your husband, you know. After saying this, the old Gramps' gaze fell upon the tiny pipsqueak, those eyes gentle and soft. And this girl must be your daughter? Yes, she is my daughter, Di Ling Yan. Bai Yan pats her daughter to move back. Go on, sweetie, go greet your grandchiefess. Hello, grandchiefess. The pipsqueak says with a fantastic voice that could melt the coldest heart. It's too tender and too cuddly. Mother, mother. Not far away, a small milk bun staggered towards Bai Yan until he threw himself into those arms. Did you ask Big Brother to find me? Yes. Bai Yan pinches her boy's little nose and smiled warmly. These two are your grandchiefess as well. Quickly go greet them. Turning around to meet Zhongnan and Zhongbei's gaze, The little glutton wasn't as soft as his twin sister. Instead, he proudly announced his words for all to hear. Hello, Grandchiefess. Good child. Zhongbei bellowed out a heart laugh at the child's behavior. Yenner, all three of your children are outstanding. I can already imagine them taking a piece of this world for themselves in the future. Biting his finger, the little glutton didn't really understand and asked with his cute face. The world? Is it tasty? Zhongbei was stunned for a moment, chuckled as he replied. The world is not a food. Oh, then I don't want it, said the little glutton. I only want to eat good food. If it's not tasty, then I don't need it. Zhongnan stared at the boy with that baby fat before breaking out into a grin. All three of them have such strong personality, Yenner. Xiachen is more mature and stable, with a growing domineering attitude like your husband's. Ling Yan is clever and smart just like you. Jin Tian is absolutely adorable in how silly he is. Bai Yin doesn't have a single bad offspring. Although this Jin Tian is a little silly right now, but his desires are cut and dry. If he focuses this aspect correctly, he will achieve some marvelous things. I know he will. I don't need them to be outstanding in the future. I just want them to live life in peace and happiness. Watching her kids in front of herself, the demon queen felt complete and whole. That's why I am so desperate to grow stronger. It's so I can bring forth a peaceful and prosperous world. The two brothers from the fairy house had nothing more to add to that statement. They know this disciple of theirs had great goals in life. Whether it's for herself or those around, she's destined to achieve it eventually. Lassie, won't you go back to the fairy house with us for a while? Zhongbei was silent for a second before bringing forth his wish. There are others over there who misses you as well. The fairy house's people are here 3. Bai Yin smiled faintly. Those who truly miss me is likely only you two and my close family members over there. I'm afraid the others are only asking for me because of my powers. To speak the truth, I don't like the fairy house. I can forgive grandfather for what he did out of consideration for my father, but the mistake of everyone else, I won't forgive them. How could she those at the fairy house when they forced her parents to separate? What? Just so they could offer the guy to that fake goddess. Compared to the fairy house, she prefers the Holy Land and Medicine sect. Therefore, unless it's for her father's sake, she would not be entering that unhappy place again in the near future. Zhongnan opened his mouth, wanting to argue the point, but felt his student there was speaking the truth. Bai Yin was a disciple of the Holy Land elders, the granddaughter of Bai Changfeng, who controls the Medicine sect, and her alchemy was unmatched in these lands. Let's say she abandoned all these levels of identity. Would those at the fairy house still want to accept her existence that came out of wedlock? The answer would be a big fat no. They would have driven her out eventually with threats and framing. I understand. Then I will not force you to go back to the fairy house. But if you want to come back next time, do remember to inform us in advance. We will come to you instead. Zhongnan made a weak smile. Bai Yin nodded. I'm leaving the human world tomorrow, and when I come back next time, I'll definitely send a messenger ahead of time for you both. Also, I like to ask both of you to give me greetings to my small uncle, since I won't get to see him on this visit. Haha, if the second young master knew that you still remembered him, he would definitely be very excited. Zhongbei bellows out a laugh, scratching her cheek awkwardly since she knew what they were referring. That guy, has he married yet? Ho ho, Zhongnan guffaws a laugh as well. The second young master is still the same old him. He's always flirting with the females at the fairy house, and refuses to settle down. Do you know how many times the lord and madam beat him for his behavior already? He just doesn't learn. If only he could be even a little bit like your parents. Then perhaps he could at the very least take a wife, instead of merely playing around. Bai Yin raised an eyebrow. Indeed, my father only likes my mother, and my grandfather only has my grandmother. I'm wondering myself as well where he got his flirtatious personality from. None of the family has that characteristic. Zhongnan got quiet like he's musing over the subject. Perhaps he merely didn't find the right one yet? If it could be assumed that way, then it all made sense. Why settle down if you didn't find the right one? After all, None of Bai Yan's family lineage had a case of a womanizer before. Perhaps that guy only plays around because he also wants a woman that he truly loves. If that's the case, Uncle Sun Huan will definitely regret his current behavior. Bai Yan's eyes narrowed into slit. When he meets the woman he likes in the future, these debts he made today will definitely come back and haunt him. No matter his excuse, love affairs aren't so cut and dry. Not to mention he already has several concubines in his home without status. What are they going to do? I can already see him having a headache for years to come. The fairy house's people are here for. Unfortunately, the second young master just didn't listen, and even the good-tempered madam wanted to teach him a lesson. Zhongnan shook his head helplessly. The family discipline of the fairy house was already strict to begin with. It's honestly baffling for such well-disciplined parents to produce such a flirtatious child. Mother! Di Ling Yen tugged at Bai Yan's sleeve, her hands rubbing her eyes. I am sleepy, I want nappy. Okay, sweetie. She gentles pecks her daughter on the forehead. I'll take you back to your room to sleep now. After saying this, she raised her head and looked towards Zhongnan and Zhongbei. Shifus, I won't stay and entertain you anymore. But if you want to stay for a while, then I will ask grandfather to arrange the guest rooms for you both. Me and Ling Yin will go back to our room and rest. Zhongnan nodded slowly. Then you go ahead, don't worry about us. We can arrange things ourselves. Hearing this, Bai Yin didn't say much more, and turned to her two sons. You two should also go back and rest. We got a long trip back to the demon realm. She had been away for a few days by this point. She's wondering if Di Tsong had finished his business and gone back. Not knowing this made her anxious, and hoped to return to that silver-haired and purple-robed figure. Flower brothel. What stood before people's eyes were song and laughter. Unlike other brothels where women are miserable and sad all the time, the situation in this establishment was glowing and bright. Most of the girls carried themselves well with fine clothes and respected personal space. However, there are exceptions to everything. In the wine-scented room where Mu Qing Song resides, this former mistress of the Music Valley was currently being taken advantage of by a pair of filthy hands from a fatso. Her body was no longer as white and clean as before. Instead, she had bruises in certain places and was forced to smile before her guests. By the way, did you hear? Bai Yin of the Luhua Kingdom has returned in recent days. Mu Qing Song was just in the middle of pouring wine when her hands trembled and nearly dropped the bottle. Quickly lowering her eyes after the fact, there's unwillingness and resentment in that look. She couldn't understand why Di Tsong would be so cruel to herself. Was it to express his feelings for such a woman? Such a man? He's too ruthless. I already knew this, how can I not? Countless forces on the continent came to visit her, and only the people of the Demon Beast sect and Flower Brothel got to get an audience. The man wearing a green robe replies with a shake of his head. But this Bai Yin really is a lucky one. Turns out she's only a adopted daughter of Lan Yu, while her real mother is the young lady of the medicine sect, and her father the young master of the fairy house. As for herself, it's said that even the princess of the Holy Land would worship Bai Yin like she's her idol. Sighing when mentioning the last bit, the guy sounded jealous. With all three powers related to her, who can ever compare to that Bai Yin anymore? Mu Qing Song clenched her teeth due to the conversation around. It's making her difficult to breathe. She hated Bai Ruo for misleading and sending herself down this hellish road. From a fairy-level existence, she's now a prostitute that has to sleep with filthy men to make a living. Worst off, she's not even allowed to flee due to all the eyes watching her. That's old news, my friend. Another guy in the room chimes in. So what if the three powers are related to her? There's more explosive news that just came into my lap. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.